my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
And good morning, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace here on 102.5 The Game. We are at the Game Studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Willie Donick, Derek Mason here with you today. We have a chain reaction, D-Mace. We have Jared going up to Minnesota to cover the practices between the Titans and the Vikings. And so Caroline is sliding into Jared's role in the afternoon. So she's got that covered. So it's you and me today. We've got Nick behind the glass, ready to rock and roll. Nick Frazier ready. Plenty to talk about today with the Titans in the joint practices with the Vikings. So we'll break down where the Titans are, obviously, in their daily quest to get ready for the season. I've been doing my homework on some of the data that's come out there. ESPN is doing a big thing on the fantasy part of it. So Tim Hasselbeck is going to join us today at noon, if he can still talk. He's been doing the fantasy football marathon. So let's hope he's still got enough in the tank.
I've been on tabs with him all morning. He's been texting me. He goes, hey, busy morning. I was like, all right, sounds good. Just keep me posted.
Okay, but he didn't say there's any problem with the voice or anything.
No.
Okay, so we're going to pencil in.
Yeah, we're penciling.
We're going to put him in 10.
Yeah.
We're going to put him in 10.
No, got to put him in
erasable ink?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a little eraser on the back.
Yeah, got to put him in pencil or erasable ink. Or invisible. What's the invisible ink?
Or something like
whiteout.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whiteout. There you go, Willie.
I remember when I was like it was like junior high, there was a big thing, like a pen that had the erasable ink. I don't know anybody that uses those anymore. You remember those?
Yeah.
I forget the brand name.
I'm sure they still sell them.
But that was super cool.
Was it Bic?
It might have been Bic.
Yes, Bic had their own
have a
version
name, like erasable ink or something like that, and it just seemed like it was the coolest thing.
It was.
Because all your teachers were like, you better not put anything in pen. I don't want anything scratched out. And we're like, but I got erasable ink. So you could erase it.
I loved using it on Scantrons. I had a teacher one time, we did a Scantron with pen, and it was like, eligible to use a pen. So I had a erasable ink, I started using I don't know if I like answer A, I might go with answer C. So I ended up erasing it. My teacher came up and goes, hey, the Scantron wasn't working. Is your pen okay? I was like, I don't know. I'll put it back down if you want me to. So she gave me a new Scantron to use my other ones. Man, I don't know if my 5th grade teacher's listening, but hey, here we go.
Now, tomorrow night, you will need a pencil or a pen if you're going to participate in our trivia night. Brought to you by Stars Nashville. We're going to be over at Boombah's East, on the east side. We've done this a couple of times. Derek, you've been there both times.
Yes.
You'll be there again tomorrow. And so in our first segment here, we just want to throw the invite out there for people to come out and have a good time, and you'll be helping a great cause, Stars. But it's going to be a fun time. We have great prizes to give away, which we're going to tell you about here in just a moment.
Even Willie and I last year, because it was so icy on the
outdoor playground.
Yeah, outdoor playground. Willie and I, we went out there and we slid down the slide full of ice. They took pictures and everything.
We put our health in danger.
Exactly, we did. We really did.
But it was for a good cause, and it was for, I think they threw out free shots for people if we executed it. And we did. We made it down.
Really?
Yeah.
I had to take out a life insurance policy before I got on that thing.
That was smart of you. But look, it is something you can bring your kids to. You can let the kids go wild on the playground. It's a great playground. Now, in February, when we did it, it was iced over.
Yeah.
It was a little glaze on there. But it will be fully operational tonight. It's actually really nice weather.
Yes, it is.
So tomorrow night, if you want to come out, bring the family, have fun playing trivia with us, we'd love for you to come. Derek will be there. Caroline Fenton will be there. Nick's going to be there. Both Nicks, actually.
Keezer?
Keezer's going to be there, and Frazier.
I'm not the best at trivia, but I love a good time.
You might unite. You could be Nick Squared. That could be the name of your team.
Knicks at Night 2.0.
Knicks at Night.
There you go.
Like that. We do have great team names. That is part of the fun of a trivia night.
Some of those names last year they were hilarious.
Because you're periodically you call out the scores,
Exactly.
and so you get your team name shout out. So the person behind this, of course, is my wife, Erin. Derek is on the board of Stars. Great organization, which Erin's going to tell you a little bit about. But she is here to help us recruit a little bit. So Erin is on the line. Erin, how are you?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Erin was probably thinking like, I'm doing great. You just left, Willie.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, you
she
guys
took
are
off early this
awesome.
morning.
Oh, okay.
So, Erin, how are we doing on this? We've done this 3 times at Boom Buzz East. It's a great atmosphere. We just mentioned the playground outside. If people want to come out tomorrow night, let the kids go wild on the playground, have some fun with us. But give us a little bit of the particulars of how it works.
Well, it's teams of 4, and it's just, I think, how many rounds do we do? 3 rounds of 5 questions or 3 rounds of 4 questions? And so hosted, of course, by Willie D, Trivia Master, and one of Derek Mason's colleagues on the Stars board, Alice Metz. You guys sort of like spearhead the questions, but it's also supported by Seth, who owns a really cool company called Nerdy Talk. And the questions are great, good diversity of like skill level, knowledge base, sprinkled with some sporty spice questions because, of course, 1025 The Game has been so instrumental in supporting us and getting the word out there about the event. Starts at 7 o'clock, goes for about an hour and a half. The prizes are amazing. So we'll have the top 3 winning teams will get to choose their own prizes from a list of prizes that Cliff McCardle over at your station, who is one of my favorite people, has put together for us. And then, of course, we have the super awesome Winning Isn't Everything award that goes to the last place team.
Yes, if you finish the game. You can't leave early and win it. But if you legit try and you finish last, there will be a prize for you. Now, we're not telling anybody to tank. You know, we've got opinions on tanking in sports on the show, but so we don't want you to tank.
Tank for the trophy.
But if it's going south, there is that at the end of the rainbow for you.
I'm going to do my best not to. I told you both before the show, I'm not the best at trivia, but I'm going to try.
Well, we do try to make it. If you've ever been to one of the on there, we'll try to throw a couple local sports questions in there, but there's some pop culture in there, so it's fun. You don't have to be a math whiz or a science whiz. There might be a question or two in there. So if you're putting a team together and you do have somebody that's got a little history or something like that, that would help. But it's not designed to be way over your head, but it is going to be fun. And
no cheating. No cheating.
No, you can't
no
cheat.
cell phones.
No cell phones. You can't do that.
No. Nope.
In fact, my son was really ticked off. They had last year when we did this, the first time at Boom Baz, they had the lead going into the Final Jeopardy. But it's a little bit like Final Jeopardy. You wager and you put your money in, or the points in. You wager points. They lost other points on the last one. They got overtaken. They're still bitter about it. He and his teammates were huddling up last night about, okay, they've learned from this, but they're still hot. They didn't know the rules. They were like, hey, we didn't know. We were winning. We should have won. So,
got to know the rules.
Yep. All that to say, we're looking for some teams. Now, Derek, you're going to be there. You do not have your full squad ready, right? Are you looking for a recruiter too, if they can bring something to the table?
Yeah, if they can bring something to the table, then bring it to the table.
Okay, so they can play with you if they dare.
You have to have – you don't have to be like a whiz, but you got to know a little bit about a lot of bit. You know,
that's really what you got to
know. Exactly, you got to know a little bit about a lot of bit. Okay, so if you know that, then we're good.
Okay, so
D-Mace, that should become our tagline for trivia night.
There we go.
Bit about a lot of it. Yeah,
I'm writing it down.
And she is writing it down. Believe me.
So just for what do we say? We're going to make a special deal here, Aaron, for each person. Like, let's say you don't have a team. You just want to show up, and we'll put you on a team. $20 per person. And if you have a team of 4, what do you do?
So that's a discounted rate, right? Because tickets are $25 a piece, $100 for a team of 4. But for listeners, anybody listening today to this, if you text the text line and you want to be there, it's $20 a person or $80 for a team of 4. And you get your own free appetizer per team. And for people who register today, I'm going to bring you a very special present that we love to give out at Stars, which is, of course, the world's greatest pizza cutter.
It is a very handy gift. Yes.
I had one.
Yeah.
I still have it. As a matter
We
of fact,
have
I still
multiple
have it. Yeah.
in our house. And it definitely comes in handy for sure. Nick, wait till you see this thing. You're gonna once you get your hand on this.
I do
it is
Friday
gonna come in
pizza.
handy.
Yeah, it comes
Hey,
in handy.
Y'all have to come over to my grandmother's house. We do Friday pizza from time to time. So
Okay.
that could come in clutch.
Oh my gosh, Nick, I'm going to give you a pizza cutter to give to your grandmother.
Okay, deal.
Perfect. This is what we do. Now let's talk about some of the perks. So for $20, you come into Boom Bars. There are $2 beers, right?
Yep.
$2 beers, a free appetizer, and the winning prizes. Here are some of the things that you could win, right? You could get your choice of one of these concerts that are coming to the various places that concerts come into. Some are at the First Bank Amphitheater, some are at Ascend Amphitheater, Geodis Park, the All-American Rejects, Goo Goo Dolls, Guns N' Roses, let's see, Ghost, Doobie Brothers, Australian Pink Floyd, Tenacious D, Smashing Pumpkins, R&B Music Experience, Outlaw Festival, Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper. So, look, we've got the whole thing. Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, come on now.
Wow. Chicago. Wow, think about this. You have your choice of Wu-Tang Clan and Chicago. Okay,
Which one you
we've
gonna
got
take?
it covered. We've got the spectrum. So, and there's a bunch more, too, on here. Some at Bridgestone Arena, the 1975. We've got some tickets we're going to have in there as a package as well. And so first, second, third, you're going to have these options because all 4 of your people have to get taken care of here. So bring it to the table. Either way, you're going to have a lot of fun. And so here's what we want you to do. Just text us at our regular text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 737-1025 if you're interested in playing. And then Erin, who is the recruiter, she will recruit you. And from there, I mean, Erin will close the deal. She is
she'll
known
close
as
the
a
deal.
great
Yeah.
recruiter. So she's going to get you there. So just text the line.
But here's the other thing that sounds a little bit bossy, but anybody can play trivia night because it happens every Wednesday at Boom Bars East. But the only way you can have access to the prizes is if you do the entry fee.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
so if you want to win the prizes, like if you want to just come and play, you can do that. But if you want to win the
Yeah, we
prizes,
would
the
love to have you
$20
there.
and the money goes to a great cause and Stars. So, Aaron, just a quick word about Stars. Tell people about Stars.
Stars is the best. Okay, Stars is just absolutely the best. We reach over 100,000 kids every year throughout Middle Tennessee. The bulk of our work happens in schools, so we provide school-based mental health counseling and therapy for kids ages kindergarten through 12th grade. We have seen just an extraordinary increase in the need for mental health services. In fact, to the point where our staff has grown from 2 years ago, we were about 80 staff members, and now we're over 200. So the schools need us, the communities need us, and the work that our staff do is just absolutely pure beauty and magic. And our Stars counselors, our staff, are the most compassionate, talented group of human beings on the face of the earth. I love them. So,
It's
and
awesome.
D-Mace can attest to this. Like, D-Mace is a huge hero for Stars.
Well, thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. Sorry, I was sort of off mic at the time.
had the mic off. All right, so 615-737-1025. If you want to play, and the first couple people, if you say, I want to be on D. Mace's team, you can be on D. Mace's team. So just text us, leave your name, and we will get in touch with you. It's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, Boom Bars East. It's over on the east side. Great place. Big, spacious. They got the big playground outside. Great food, pizza. You get the free appetizer and $2 beers. 615-737-1025. I'm the game show host. I'll be handing out the questions. We're going to be heckling from the stands. Nick, the Nick Squared team, Nick at Night, they're going to be all over me. We're going to be checking in on your progress as well. D-Mace will have his team.
And it's going to be great weather tomorrow.
Oh, it's outstanding.
Yes.
The heat is actually broken. It actually felt like a nice summer day out there. It's going to be like that tomorrow night, too. So, Aaron, thanks for coming on. We're going to update you, and we're going to get you some recruits.
Absolutely.
I love it. And D-Mace, I'm serious. We're going to have our tagline, a little bit about a lot of bets.
There we go. I like it. Like it.
Love it.
All right.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. That was Erin Donick from Stars. She's the recruiter. 615-737-1025. If you're interested in Trivia Night tomorrow night on the East Side, we'd love to see you there for a great cause, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, now to the show. When we come back, we'll get to a couple of big things that happened. The running backs. We've been talking about the running back market all summer. A couple of big dominoes dropped yesterday with some signings. We'll hit that. We'll talk Titans a little bit later this hour. Tim Hasselbeck at noon. And he had some very interesting things. He's on this fantasy football marathon, so we'll have some fantasy flavor today. And he had some thoughts about Malik Willis and Will Levis in the opener. We'll get his quarterback eyes and his evaluation of those two guys coming up at noon. Stay tuned. We're getting cranked up here on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5 The Game.
All the big plays.
Rebound, try out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big stories.
Andrew Burnett reportedly hired as the next head coach of the Predators.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Comparing goalies to running backs.
46-27 Vanderbilt.
Does this group of players need more? The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's going on, everyone? This is Derek Mason, and I need to tell you something about Zen Sports, the new sports betting app in Tennessee, revolutionizing sports betting rewards. What if I told you that you're wasting your time and money betting on other sports books? That's not Zen Sports. Zen Sports offers real cash rewards for those lucky enough to be in Tennessee, and that means no funny money, points, or credits. For a welcome bonus, earn 5% cash back on every bet you place with your first 15 days with the code DMASON. Unlimited 5% cash back on your bets with code DMASON. That's DMASON. And earn up to 3% cash back on your bets after that with Zen Sports Loyalty Program. So, make the switch today and start betting on Zen Sports. Your wallet and your purse will thank you, or your purse will thank you later. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older to bet in Tennessee. Zen Sports, where betting just got better.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner-occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchen, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
B&B Flooring has a goal to bring your dream floor to you. Over 30 years running and locally owned and operated, B&B Flooring's full-service commercial and residential team will handle anything from tile, luxury vinyl, carpet, hardwood, rubber, and all commercial products. Make your flooring selection today and visit their showroom at 2204 Northwest Broad Street in Murfreesboro, or check them out at bnbflooring.com. Come celebrate B&B Flooring's official grand opening party Saturday, August 19th at their Murfreesboro location. There will be prizes, ticket giveaways, and much more.
Hendersonville has a newly renovated Dunkin' store, and the Game invites you to join us this coming Monday morning for their grand reopening at 209 Indian Lake Boulevard in Hendersonville. We will be there with great giveaways and free stuff. That's Monday morning at the newly remodeled Dunkin' in Hendersonville.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, your favorite game, Silly Underdog Picks, is back. Sign up today at thegamenashville.com or the 1025 The Game app. Silly Underdog Picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. D-Mace will be back again to try to make the comeback. We had so much fun with that last year, and we've got all the gang back for another season of doing it. We've been doing it in some form, going back years and years. 1994 was the first year of the Silly Underdog Pick. So George Plaster, actually I should probably make sure that George is in. I think he is. But I got to nail that down, but I'm sure George will be back to do that. We're going to have a blast with it, and that will start here before you know it. Labor Day weekend's coming up. There's some college football just around the corner, so join up and play with us once again online for great prizes. Silly Underdog Picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. But D-Mace, we've been waiting for this all summer. We've been talking about the running back market. Remember, there was the big powwow between Derek Henry, and all of the big-name running backs. Jonathan Taylor, who is now back at practice but still on the PUP. A lot of running backs trying to carve out their niche and get the value that they think they deserve. One guy that was released earlier in the summer, Dalvin Cook, now has a new home, and it's the Jets. So he is now with Aaron Rodgers and company. And you put all this together, and I think you've probably got about as hyped up a team as we have seen in a long time, especially if you categorize it by saying a team that really hasn't won much.
Yeah, the last time that the Jets were relevant, I think it might have been 08, the 07 and 07-08 year, or it was 07 and 08. Or
the Rex Ryan teams with Darrelle Revis and Mark Sanchez was pretty good.
It was an 08-09 year.
They tried to load up for those teams, and they got to the AFC title game.
Back-to-back years.
They had a win over Brady in the playoffs, which was pretty big.
Get over that hump. So since those days, the New York Jets have been abysmal. This team, but this season, I think, Willie, and we discussed it a little bit off air, this might be the most hyped team within the last decade, maybe even two, and rightfully so. This is a team that in the Jets that had a monster defense last year, had a running back that was running wild before he got injured in Breece Hall, and on off, a stud rookie wide receiver in Garrett Wilson that just tore up the league. And they were doing all of this sort of with a makeshift quarterbacks, like different quarterbacks at the helm. Obviously, they had to go out and get Aaron Rodgers. They add Allen Lazard to an already, stacked pretty much offense. Dalvin Cook now. You add to the mix. This team, many think, could represent the AFC, at least in the AFC Championship game. I think people are thinking that's the minimum. You should at least get the AFC Championship game.
But how crazy does that sound when you have the Bills and the Bengals and the Chiefs, just for starters? Forget about the other teams.
And you're right, but I'm not completely sold on, and this has been my sentiment for the last year and a half. I'm not quite sold on Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's a good quarterback. I really do, but I don't think a lot of times we're comparing him or putting him in the same, sort of category as a Patrick Mahomes and a Joe Burrow. He's not in that category. Why? Because he does too many things to lose you games. A quarterback with the sort of the attributes and the talent that he has, he finds ways to either lose you the game or almost lose you the game. No one else. It's all on him from an offensive standpoint. I don't trust the Buffalo Bills. I don't trust Josh Allen. They should have lost last year in the playoff game against Miami. But Miami if they had Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback, I think Miami would have won that game. So I'm not quite sold on the Bills.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to the
Bengals?
the Bengals,
That's a pretty good team.
yeah, but I think they're gonna that division just might be the toughest division in football.
Okay.
It all depends.
But one
on
of
what
the other
Cleveland
divisions that would be in that discussion
is
would
the
be
AFC
the East. Yeah.
yeah. But I just look at this division. I think it's going to come down to Miami and the Jets. I'm not a firm believer.
You think Miami and the Jets are better than the Bills?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right, now let's get to Cook.
Okay.
They paid Cook what I would say pretty handsomely for a guy that's going to be in the mix. Mm-hmm. You would figure that they're going to get Breece Hall back at some point. Mm-hmm. But he's coming off the ACL. We know firsthand, watching the Titans, we don't know what you're getting
when
always
you're dealing with ACL.
Coming back that first year. There could be a wide range of when and how effective. So he's great insurance, if nothing else. But I think ideally they want Breece Hall to be a very important piece of it. Dalvin Cook maybe not quite featured like he was for the Vikings, but still a guy that is a very, very good player. So where do you see Dalvin Cook moving the needle, especially how he fits with Aaron Rodgers? Because that's really the key to all this hype. You can have all these all-stars joining a team that, if you believe what the Jets narrative is, look, we went through the hard times. We had high picks. We've got a good young nucleus of players. We're just adding now the pieces that make us a contender. But I've also seen teams go in and add big names, and the pieces just don't fit. So how do you think Aaron Rodgers fits with Dalvin Cook?
I think it's going to be perfect. Aaron Rodgers had a pretty good running back, and I think was it Aaron Jones some years ago or last year, and Aaron Jones was tearing it up too. And they work well because they can also not only was Aaron Rodgers, and that was his MVP year, I believe. Not only was Aaron Rodgers efficient in what he was doing in the passing game, but you had to seriously worry about their run game as well. So they complement, one another. The pass and the run complement one another. And I think this is going to be the same with Dalvin Cook and with Breece Holmes. If Breece Holmes can come back and be 75, 80% of what he was.
He's got those young.
Yeah.
He's young.
He's young, so he should be able to bounce back a little bit quicker than maybe a running back that has a lot of tread on the tires. So
I think we'll all have decisions to make fantasy-wise. Breece Hall or Dalvin Cook. Which one are you going to go with? Who's going to get the ball more? That's
I was about to ask
one.
you guys, who would you prefer to be the bell cow of that team? Because you look at Dalvin Cook's injury history. His shoulder's always been a problem. Obviously, Breece Hall with his knee injury. If he does come back from his knee injury, like everybody's talking about, would he be considered the main bell cow?
Yeah.
And then,
I think like he's done it for what it's worth. Like this is Aaron Rodgers' team now, but last year when Breece Hall got hurt, the Jets were something like 6-2, 6-3, despite the struggles of
a passing game.
Yes, who the rookie Wilson, he was all over the place. He couldn't get out of his own way, but the rest of the team was looking pretty good despite him.
Yeah,
like they beat the Bills. With Wilson quarterbacking.
Yeah,
your talk about the Bills
because of his defense. But if I had to pick, it would be Dalvin Cook, a guy that I would want to carry a brunt of the load because Breece Hall is coming back off an injury, so I would want Dalvin Cook. And Dalvin Cook for his career is averaging, almost 5 yards a carry. Even last year, which was a down year per se, he rushed for 1,100 yards at 8 touchdowns. So he still can be your number one running back if need be. And I think the Jets are going to lean on him heavy. But I have not – I need to check back. But I have not seen a team so hyped up. Maybe not even Philadelphia last year. Even after getting A.J. Brown, I don't think they were this – people were talking about it in this sort of way.
Well, most people, I think, still pick the Cowboys to win that division.
Yeah.
So let's stop there because I would love to hear from some people on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, or you can call us as well. We've already got a couple people weighing in on this. The Jets are the most hyped up team since whom? Who would be the most hyped up teams in recent memory? Let us know what you think on that. 615-737-1025. Obviously, too, as we mentioned, if you want to join up with us tomorrow for trivia night, feel free to text us on that. We'll make sure we get in touch with you, give you all the particulars, but we want to hear from you. What were the most hyped up teams? If you want to keep it to the NFL, you can, but you can broaden it out to other sports too. Most hyped up teams, because I have definitely seen in my day plenty of New York teams specifically hyped up who crashed and burned in a big way. So let us know what you think on that. 615-737-1025. We're back with more Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace after this.
Ryan Tannehill.
To the end zone, touchdown.
Derrick Henry.
76-yard touchdown.
Kevin Byard.
And as he throws, and it's intercepted.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, wow, what a catch.
The Titans are ready for another season as training camp is underway.
Go to your position. Let's go.
Who will win the camp battles? How are the new additions fitting in? Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, time to tell you once again about Loan Pronto. Now, Loan Pronto has been helping people all summer long. And look, the summer still, I know a lot of people are back to school now. You're in that fall mode, but technically it is summer for a few more weeks. But look, if you've got a home improvement project you've been waiting to start and the fall is the time to do it for you, know that you can use your home's equity to get cash to do what you need to do for that home improvement project or whatever financial needs you might have with paying off credit card bills or car loans or tuition. Life hits you, medical bills. You never know what you might need it for, and it's a great source. And you don't have to mess with your primary interest rate. You don't want to mess with that, especially if it's around 3% or less. Keep that intact. Just get the money you need out of your home's equity. You can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. It's very easy to do, and in 5 days or less, through the Express Equity line of credit with Loan Pronto, you can have that cash to address your needs. So call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Oh, Charlie's, that's where you find me. That southern flavor got me saying, hey, y'all. Yum, yum, have some fun, share with the ones you love. Don't you want to roll?
At O'Charlie's, we thought you'd enjoy a little country rock and rolls. The warm, buttery, delicious kind. Served free with every meal. O'Charlie's. Oh, that's good.
Yum, yum, have some fun, Charlie's. Born in Nashville, and it shows.
Join ESPN 102.5 The Game, Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, and Nolensville Fire and Rescue for the 10th annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, Wednesday, August 16th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library on Concord Road, sponsored by B.L. Harbert International.
It is red hot in Music City.
On Wednesday, August 16th.
My God, listen to that.
AEW Dynamite and Rampage invade the Bridgestone Arena for a massive night of elite professional wrestling action in Nashville.
We have got a red hot show in store for you tonight.
Don't miss the AEW World Champion MJF.
I'm better than you.
Chris Jericho in the JAS.
I am the Wizard. I am the Ocho. I am Chris Jericho.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Dr. Britt Baker. John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, Chris Statlander, The Acclaim.
Everyone, love!
The Outcasts, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, Adam Cole. Wardlow, Swerve, Hangman Page, Hook, Darby Allin, Sting.
This is Sting!
Nashville's own Jeff and Karen Jarrett, and all your favorite stars will be in action live.
Well, that's you.
Don't miss AEW's only Nashville appearance this year at the Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now. Go to AEWTix.com. Card subject to change.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, this is Pete Weber. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, remember, you can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. Willie Donick, Derek Mason here with you. Nick Frazier as well. We're throwing the question out there to our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Jets, between Hard Knocks, between Mike Greenberg on Get Up every morning, who is holding a Jets pep rally every day. He's a big Jets fan. It's kind of the running gag on the team. The Jets are the most hyped up team in the NFL since whom? You could even branch out. We got a lot of people weighing in on this. Do you have any teams that come to mind? By the way, the Titans would be the polar opposite.
Oh, yeah.
There will be zero hype nationally on the Titans, which is kind of how they like it. I think Vrabel sort of likes that a little bit, but you will hear zero hype. There were a lot of skeptics even when they were winning the division. People were like, how are they doing this? So now, after the collapse of last year, you'll hear even less about them. So they're on the other end of the spectrum. But meanwhile, the Jets are getting tons of attention, even though they have not won more than 7 games in a season in a long, long time. You got to go back to 2015. And that's the only time. They won 10 in 2015. You have to go way back to the Rex Ryan teams that you were talking about in 09 and 10, the last time they had back-to-back years in the playoffs. They have not made the playoffs since the Rex Ryan team of 2010. Yet, they are hugely hyped.
Yeah, they are.
Any hyped-up teams that come to mind for you?
I can
remember the dream team that the Eagles had. What year was that? When they had Vince Young and they signed a bunch of free agents and they were called the Dream Team?
That's when they had was Deshaun Jackson on that team, Shady McCoy.
Yes, Shady McCoy was a guy they brought in for that.
They had some other guys, but they had a good defense. I think Dawkins was still on that defense as well, the Hall of Famer. So
and it didn't go well.
And it really didn't go well. I can say possibly that Miami Heat team, if we're going to venture outside of football, the Miami Heat team when LeBron first went there. Now, they went to the finals, but it wasn't good for them. They ended up losing to Dallas, I believe, in that final.
That's right.
Or was it San Antonio?
I think it was Dallas the first year with Dirk.
Yeah, with Dirk. So they ended up losing. Dirk was a one-man wrecking machine, basically. But that team, I'm trying to think if there was.
But that was a team. You talk about a team that kind of had everybody hoping they would lose just because it was so hyped up after the decision.
And not one, not two, not three. LeBron kept going and going and going, and they only managed. I mean, I'm not going to say they only managed, but they, those guys were together 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And they won 2 titles, I believe.
They did have to earn it, and that did sort of gain respect for LeBron because it didn't come easy.
Exactly.
And I kind of like that part of it. And I wonder how, if you're not a Jets fan, how people will they root for the Jets, or are they almost making themselves out to be the villain? And does that have an effect on how
now,
you play?
was that Rams team after they won the Super Bowl? They were hyped
up.
Next fellow
and
year.
that was one of our first texts we got when we threw this question out there. Let's see.
But they ended up making it back to the Super Bowl that year, I think. The next following year, didn't they? And they lost to New England, I believe. The next following year, they end up losing to New England by a field goal.
They lost to New England with Jared Goff still the quarterback, and then they came back and won it against the Bengals with Stafford. So I think the hype would have started when they went and got Stafford.
I'm talking the year that they won the Super Bowl with Kurt Warner and Isaac Keem and Isaac
you're
Bruce
going way back there.
And Marshall Faulk. When they won the Super Bowl, because remember, they came out of nowhere because Trent Green got hurt and everyone thought, okay, this team is going to be mediocre. They ended up winning the Super Bowl, but then everybody came back the next following year. And they were hyped up to win it. They ended up making it, but they ended up losing to New England, I believe.
Yeah, that was 2 years later because the Ravens won it in 2000.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it didn't go well the next year. In fact, I think they had a losing record the next year. I don't remember all the things that happened, but remember Vermeil retired.
Yes.
And Mike Martz, they had kind of a down year and then bounced back.
And made it to the Super Bowl.
So at least that team had earned some hype after winning it. Like I do think that part of hype is hollow, like you haven't won anything yet. So the first text we got on this, the Rams were pretty hyped up when they got Stafford, Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp. Matt, that team was pretty hyped up, especially because they went all in and traded seemingly every draft pick they had, and they're paying the price.
But they
of
end
that
up winning.
They did win it, so they lived up to the hype.
Exactly.
For sure. Matthew in Nashville texts, 2019 Browns, overhyped.
Yes.
That's valid.
Yes. I remember, yes.
They hadn't done much. They were getting a little bit better, and then,
Yeah.
And I think that was the year the Titans beat them in Cleveland on the first day, right?
Baker Mayfield. They had Chubb. They had the two backs, didn't they? Nick Chubb and
Kareem Hunt, yes.
Kareem Hunt, yeah. They had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I believe.
Kevin Byard had an interception in that game, pick six, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Caleb texts, when Brady went to the Bucs. Now, that's a good one. And the Bucs did
But they
win
won the Super Bowl, yeah.
And they did
started
go
off
all
slow.
in. So I think Jets people would say, well, what do you want us to do? We got Rodgers. We've got to go all in. We've got to go get players like you mentioned Lazard and Randall Cobb, and now they get Cook. So they are going the way that the Bucs and the Rams sort of did. Like, we've got a chance here, so let's just double down. We'll deal with the consequences later.
My pick is the Arizona Cardinals because they had Kyler Murray, still has not really panned out for them. They said that A.J. Green was going to have a resurgence, never did. Hanging on the back holds of Larry
J.J.
Fitzgerald,
Watt, they brought
J.J.
in.
Watt,
Yeah.
and now Cliff Kingsbury. He's no longer the coach there, correct?
No, he's not.
Yeah, so
He's gone.
that whole entire franchise kind of went to shambles, and they never won their division. All that potential went down to, and they had D-Hop.
They look pretty good here. The first game.
Well, they look good.
Let's disregard.
Remember,
the
they did
opener.
get off to a really good start
they
the one
went
year, and
like
they kind of skidded.
6-0 or 7-1, something like that.
Yeah.
And then they had some injuries, and everything just started to go downhill for them.
Yeah. So that's my pick. It's kind of really not valid.
So we got some Rams, we got some Bucks, and so there's no doubt that this can work, but others have crashed and burned, like the Browns.
Yeah.
Jeff from Hendersonville votes for the Browns. The Jets are getting hyped up as much as the Cleveland Browns were when they were talking about them winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, the Browns actually had some people picking them to win the Super Bowl not too long ago. Now it's almost like nobody even wants to talk about the Browns because you got to talk about Deshaun, and that's kind of icky.
They don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, they don't really want to go there. Let's see. So, Randy says, do we have another possible super hype team this year, say in the NFC, as in the Lions? I don't think it's the same kind of hype.
No, it's not the same kind of hype because of the quarterback, I think. And that's what makes the hype even more, that Aaron Rodgers goes to New York. And it's not, mind you, it's not just any team. Aaron Rodgers could have went, just say, throw a team, I don't know. Denver. He could have went to Denver. Aaron Lazard could have went to Denver. They could have got another receiver, and their defense could have been stacked. It would have been big, but not as big as the Jets. Why? Because they're in New York. So it's going to be 20 times bigger. But if you look at it, you would have to agree that this team, I'm not going to say they're stacked, but they're damn close to being stacked. And if you don't win, it's a indictment on, I think first and foremost, it's an indictment on Aaron Rodgers. If you don't win, then it's an indictment on the head coach if they don't win. I think that's where the buck stops. Those two guys, if they don't win, minus injury, if they don't get to the Super Bowl, let's just say get to the Super Bowl, because I'm not going to say win, because even if you have a stacked team, things can happen in a game that just, everything bounces the other way for the other team. But if they don't at least get to the Super Bowl, it's a disappointment. Because to me, if you look at it from top to bottom, especially that Chris Jones isn't signed yet with the Kansas City Chiefs, the Jets is a better team from top to bottom.
Okay. I am willing to bet that the Jets will not make the Super Bowl.
I'm not betting it. I'm just saying if they don't at least get there, it's a disappointment.
I don't think they're going to get to the Super Bowl. I'd be surprised if they do, but I see that the hype is going to push this. Gator Tim texts in, Jets, most overhyped team since the Cowboys every year. Okay. On that, we'll take a break. Fair point. 615-737-1025. We're talking about hyped-up teams. The Jets, we've hit a high level of hype here. Stay tuned. We're coming back.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national
Hey. I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff.
It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You want to know how to get better rates, better coverage, and better service on your home and auto insurance? Work with Zander Insurance. I know it's a big promise, but this team delivers. They've been around for almost 100 years and have earned the privilege of representing dozens of insurance companies so they can shop, compare, and find you the best options available. More options mean more savings, and in many cases, better coverage. But it doesn't stop there. Each year, they review your coverage to make sure your rates stay competitive. Nobody else does that. And when it comes to service, just check out their ratings. Zander is one of the top agencies in the industry, and they earned that spot with their commitment to making sure their clients are taken care of like family. That's what sets them apart. Go to Zander.com for quick online quotes or call 800-356-1780 for that personal touch that you've been missing.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
If it's important to Nashville,
I'll put it out right now.
It's important to Jared Stillman.
Like, that's it.
He's not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Something is going on, and the question is, what does it mean?
Or give the strong opinion.
And just needed the bozo offensive coordinator to stop ruining the quarterback.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Finally have arrived. Gather round, if you will, all ye hopefuls. Wear thy green with pride and repeat after me as we proudly cry, J-E-T-S, yes! The day has finally come. It has come. Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet, and that's not all.
Now, that's not from this morning, but you absolutely could have done it again this morning because he had another similar kind of – he put the Jets as the number one threat to the Kansas City Chiefs to unseat the champions in the AFC. So Greeny is all in. He's buying it, especially after the Dalvin Cook side.
Exactly. Have you ever seen a show host or anybody of even anybody of that nature be so like just so a home.
Just kind of wearing your
yeah
fan hat on the set. It is an interesting thing that they do there because ESPN did not used to do that, but they're kind of letting his personality come in. Now he's usually the first to be cynical and rip on the Jets, so it's not like he's like everything the Jets are doing is great, but they have gone with this narrative a lot,
big
and
time.
it is a little interesting to me. Like I'd be curious, someone like a Richard Deitch who we have on who evaluates the media, how he feels about.
But
that
I think
part.
I think that sometimes that's counterproductive though, because I think now you're going to start to get people hating the Jets more and wanting to see them fail because of Greeny. And his love fest. And like you said, he's been up front. Like, listen, this is my team. I'm going to criticize when they do bad, and I have. But I'm going to love on them when they're doing great or I believe they have a great team. But I think that turns a lot of people off, that are not like New York Jet fans.
Right. And if you're tuning into that show for analysis and you're getting that, you're like, wait a minute, can we get to some real football talk here? There's that balance that you have to have. For sure. But all this to say, our topic this hour has been how many times have we seen a team get hyped up to this level because of the circumstances here? So we have a lot of people that have weighed in on this. And also, where does this leave the Titans? The Titans fans surely are rooting for Aaron Rodgers to crash and burn because that makes it easier for them to get in there. Ken in Waverly texts in, can't be mad at Greeny. I'm a Lions fan. It feels good to have some hype. The Lions they're kind of the darling team. I put them in a little bit of a different category. You used to see this with the Buccaneers for a long time when they were just the butt of all the jokes. They were so bad. And then suddenly Tony Dungy turned them around. They changed their uniforms, and then they were good for a long time. Eventually they won the Super Bowl with John Gruden, and they shook that tag. They've had some bad teams since then, but they just didn't have that tag of the lowliest team in the in the NFL. I think the Lions have sort of taken that mantle right now. When you say like the franchise that's had the least success, it would be the Lions. And now, even though they haven't done anything yet, they look like they've got a chance, and they're on the verge. Yeah. And so they become a little bit of the darling team. The Browns had a little. I think part of the reason the Browns got hyped up is because they were in that boat too.
Yeah.
Passionate fan base, old historical team that's been around forever, that the fans are starved.
And I almost think secretly the league wants teams like that to do well. If New York teams are doing well, I think it is good for the NFL. If one or both of the New York teams are doing well. If a team like the Detroit Lions, who's, historically, haven't been a playoff team. They just hadn't. I mean, I grew up there, and I can count on one hand how many times the Lions went to the playoffs in my 20-something years living there. On one hand. That's a long damn time. So I can understand the hype from Lions fan, and deservedly so, because they got a good team. And I can see the hype from New York fans because now they believe they have a team. And now they can have that, cooler talk or that bar talk to go along with the Giants fans. Like, we can go back and forth now.
The difference is, I think you take those fans. Let's say you're a Titans fan and the Titans are out. It's easier to get behind the Lions, right, and say, all right, Titans, they're out of it this year. Whatever your team is, they're out. I'll get behind the Lions. They haven't won a Lions. Let's go Lions. You kind of jump behind them. The Jets, though, I don't know if you get that if you're the Jets. It's more like you're not going to get that group of fans. Who are looking for somebody to root for.
Because I don't think no one, if you're not a Jet fan or a Giant fan, I don't know if there's
especially if with the hype factor, the adding Rodgers, loading up the wagon.
I wonder if there are any casual Jets fans.
No, they don't exist.
Exactly. They do not exist. Like, there are casual Detroit fans, and I think there are casual Titan fans. Like, okay, Titans doing well. I love it. All right. But I don't think there is a damn casual Jet fan in the world.
I may have one. A buddy I played high school football
No
with.
way.
I promise. He's a videographer.
We need to get him on the show.
Tate's a guy that he'll tell it to you straight. He told me the other day, he goes, the Jets, they're not winning the Super Bowl this year. I was like, what? I mean, they have to. They're going all in. He goes, no, they're not. I was like, Are you okay? Are you ill? Are you okay? You running a fever? He goes, no, they're not going to win this year. I don't care. Anybody's telling me, like, he's trying to be pessimistic as much as possible. I guess
because of the hype.
I guess
because of the hype.
But like, you got to buy into it, don't you? If you're a Jets
part
fan?
of it. Sometimes you get cynic. Look, I'm wearing my Mets hat. And somebody just texted our text line. 2023 Mets. Enough said. He must have seen my hat. Yes, I know. Yeah, you talk about crashing and burning, but that's what part of this is. Is the you drink the Kool-Aid, you get excited of these big names, and then it crashes spectacularly. Like, you love the train wreck. That's part of New York, especially.
Exactly.
Because they're going to hype you up. They're going to give you the back page headlines, but then they sort of live for the bad part of that too,
Exactly.
when it doesn't go right. Ken and Waverly, let's see. Feel one finger. He said you can put the number of playoff wins on one finger. So that was, I guess, the response to his earlier
Lions.
text. Yeah. Josh from Dixon says, I love it when sports talk show hosts say what team they're for. It helps you know more about them. Makes them feel like real people. I get that.
I get it.
It's much
I
more
understand.
accepted
Yeah.
now than it used to be, I think. When you were heading up a big show on ESPN, I think it was kind of faux pas to show that you were a fan of a certain team. You don't want to show bias.
But even now, I mean, somebody texted in yesterday and said we're homers. I mean, like, we're not homers.
They said, what, hillbilly homer, right?
Yeah, like, we're not homers. Definitely not hillbilly homers, but we're not homers anyway. But I think if you show that sort of over-the-top love for your team, then you're considered a homer on no matter if you're talking on the radio or not. But it comes into play more times than not when you're on the radio. If you're talking about your team and people, oh, you're a homer. Well, I mean, we're not homers. We criticize the team, but also we do congratulate the team and talk about their success when they do have some. And that's, I'm sure, in New York with the Jets and Greeny, many people think he's a homer. But then there are some that thinks, Greeny tells it both ways. He tells when the Jets are doing horrible and when they're not. So he's just on a high right now because the acquisitions that they have made this offseason. And, the last one, I think, was sort of the solidifying this team. Signing Dalvin Cook, to me, means this team is Super Bowl or bust. Not win, but Super Bowl or bust. Like, you got to get to the Super Bowl.
That's a high expectation level, but there's no question that train is moving in that direction. Couple more quick nominees as we turn the page on this hour, move ahead. Tim Hasselbeck will join us now around 12:30 now, so you're going to want to hear Tim. Broncos, overhyped last year when they added Russell Wilson. I'll buy that for sure. Mm-hmm. Keith from Bowling Green says New England when they added Randy Moss. Now, they kind of lived up to the hype.
They went to the Super Bowl, but ended up losing.
That was almost – they came within
Plaxico Burress touchdown catch.
Almost went undefeated. Mm-hmm. Shane from the Borough, big hockey fan, says Maple Leafs. Pick a year. Any year. Okay. No question about it. And then Henry finally says the Bad News Bears when they got Amanda Wurlitzer and Kelly Leak. They had no hype, though, man. They were at the bottom. There was nowhere to go. They were more like the Lions at that point. But they were great. They were great. You're speaking my language, Henry. All right, we're back with hour number 2 after this here on 102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
86% of adults say chicken is a crowd pleaser the whole family enjoys, according to a 2023 Atomic survey of 1,000 adults from Tyson brand. That's also why chicken is a perfect choice for all your cookouts and family gatherings this grilling season. In addition to being nutritious and a great source of protein, it's also a versatile option that pairs well with a variety of flavors and dishes. Next time you're shopping for your next barbecue event, try Tyson fresh trimmed and ready boneless skinless chicken breasts. The chicken breasts are trimmed and ready to cook, so you can skip the prep and toss them right on the grill. It's also 99% fat-free, has 27 grams of protein, and is 100% all natural and minimally processed with no artificial ingredients. It's truly the perfect mealtime staple that you and your family can feel good about at your next cookout. Find Tyson Fresh in the refrigerator aisle at retailers nationwide. For more information and recipe inspiration, visit Tyson.com and follow Tyson brand on social media. Again, for more information, visit Tyson.com and follow Tyson brand on social media.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. A big game tonight in Music City as Nashville SC hosts Monterey in the League's Cup semifinals. Winner is guaranteed a Champions Cup spot for the 2024 season. Kickoff is set for 8:30 tonight. Here's Nashville SC's Shaq Moore on the mentality going into this semifinal matchup.
Yeah, like you said, it's definitely, a big game, big moment for the club. Obviously, we want to start, writing our own history into the club. We don't want to look too far, whether that's, the final or the Champions League spot. We definitely want to just focus on tomorrow, take it game by game, not look to the final, not look, too far ahead, and just focus on a result tomorrow against a very good Monterey team that plays good and that's, strong and, on a roll. So, that's our only focus right now.
Tune in this evening to 94.9 The Fan as the Nashville Sounds are back in action at home as they take on the Charlotte Knights, the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 1025 and 1063.
And a score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board.
Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado.
Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace moves into hour number 2. Reminder to tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball. Today at 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan, our sister station. The Sounds take on the Charlotte Knights. That's the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. Sounds Baseball, 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan. That's coming up tonight. Also, remember, tomorrow night is our trivia night, brought to you by Stars. It's over at Boombaz East. We'd love for you to play. We're looking for recruits. $20 a person if you want to win the prizes. If you just want to come play trivia, you can just come hang out with us. That's fine. But to win the big prize, we've got great concert tickets. We've got tickets to games that here on 102.5 The Game, we put our prize package together. Get your team and come on out. If you love trivia night, Boombaz East tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And all you got to do is text us right now, 737-1025, if you would like to play. We would love to recruit you. You will not be disappointed. Tim Hasselbeck is going to join us at 12:30. He is on ESPN, and he's been on ESPN a lot. It's the fantasy football marathon that they do every year. So if you flip on ESPN today, you will see this revolving scroll of all kinds of nuggets, projections, rankings, etc. for fantasy. So we thought we would break down the Titans on this. And Mike Clay has his fantasy strength of schedule. Let's start with that, Derek, because then we're going to get into the skill positions because let's be totally honest here. Even when the Titans have been good, it's been Derrick Henry and then not a whole lot else in terms of who you put in your fantasy lineup. Maybe the kicker, maybe the defense. So, Mike Clay's fantasy strength of schedule. He says it's an average schedule from weeks 1 to 14, and then he has something for the fantasy playoffs, presuming that you're in your league, you do the playoffs in the last couple weeks of the season. He says it's average. So that's one thing. I think if you'd have done this last year, the strength of schedule would have been much tougher. I think it would have been difficult. This year, that is a factor. That is, if you're looking for, number one, equating it to fantasy, but also, number two, how do the Titans get back to the top of the division? On paper, and it can look different, check back with us in October, but it does look like a less difficult schedule than it was last year. Do you buy that?
The Titans schedule, yes and no from this standpoint, and I've said this plenty of times. The NFL is tough. Period. As you start getting into those later months, the games become harder and harder. Why? Because it's essentially a war of attrition. That's what it is. Because even the bad teams can beat a really good team toward the latter part of the year. Injuries are involved, guys being beat up, guys not being 100%. So it just depends on when do you run into that supposedly not so hard schedule. Now the Titans, the hard schedule for them, at least it starts right off the bat. Whatever you think about the Saints, okay, but the Chargers and the Browns. And
Speaking
the
of hyped up teams,
exactly.
That was our subject last hour. The Chargers
Exactly.
have been a hyped up team
Absolutely.
with a lot of pressure on them that has not lived up to the hype.
Yeah. So I just look at it, every game in this league, whether you're playing an NFC East team, an AFC East team, it doesn't matter. And I know every time I say this, people say, well, wouldn't you rather play Miami instead of Buffalo? No, I would rather play Buffalo
you've been very consistent
than
on
Miami.
This. So basically, you're saying you don't pay too much attention to strength of schedule because it can go a lot of ways.
This is not college football.
You took this last year too.
It's not college football. Yes, to me it depends on when you play that team and what their team is looking like health wise. For me, many people thought first game of the season last year. Oh, that's easy for the Titans. New York Giants, that's easy. What happened? Giants beat them. It just depends.
Right.
This league is just when you think you know it, you don't know a damn thing.
I agree. That's what makes it fun.
Exactly.
In a lot of ways.
That's what makes it fun. This is not college football. It's not.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Ryan Tannehill. Now, this is interesting. A couple years ago, Ryan Tannehill was making a case that he could be your starting fantasy quarterback each and every week, and you would have been all right. The way he was running for touchdowns, he had 30-something passing touchdowns to go with that. He was putting up legit QB1 numbers. His preseason rank this year is 24th. I would contend that there's probably some drafts where he doesn't get drafted. Is that fair to say? Like, he could be on your waiver wire.
That's very
One of your
fair.
quarterbacks get hurt. There's just not going to be a lot of hype.
If you're in a dynasty league, that is 100%. I think that is valid there, Willie.
So do you think that's off 24th?
As far no, I don't.
With D-Hop and all that, do you think a bounce back is possible?
I think a bounce
could he at least
back-
be your backup on your if you're going to draft two quarterbacks? Would you be all right drafting him as your second quarterback?
I think I would be. Let me rephrase this. I don't think he's 24th ranked quarterback. Now, how the fantasy world looks at him,
Right, and that's
is
our
totally
thing.
different.
We're talking fantasy.
Fantasy world looks at him totally different. Even if he wasn't coming off a season that was mirrored with a bunch of injuries for that team and for him. I think he still would have been one of those quarterbacks that you draft late because of the Titans' offense, the way they run their offense, the passing offense. They are not a pass-first team. The offense runs through Derrick Henry, and Tim Kelly has said it. I would be crazy not to run this offense through Derrick Henry. So they're going to continue to run it through Derrick Henry, even with DeAndre Hopkins and Treylon Burks. They're going to run it through Derrick Henry. So that takes away some of the numbers that Ryan Tannehill could potentially have.
The key for me in Tannehill's fantasy value will be if he does get the rushing yards. And if you look through the years, it's usually not that he gets 500, 600 rushing yards, but he gets enough, and he runs the ball in from the red zone. On a good year, he might have 5 or 6 touchdowns. To me, in some leagues, that's more valuable than a passing touchdown, depending on what you score in your league. So after the ankle surgery, I think we're all still wondering. He looks like he's moving around pretty well so far, but we haven't seen him in a game condition. Is he still going to have that tool that's been a very valuable tool for him? And fantasy, if he's going to be your backup, you got to play him on your starters bye week or something against a good matchup. To me, that's a factor to look for. All right, Derrick Henry. They have ESPN in the Fantasy Football Marathon has him as the 5th best running back. 5th. Low or high or right on?
Wow. 5th?
Because
again,
I still think it looks like he's going to get the ball a lot, and that means a lot in fantasy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a little high for me.
You think 5th is too high?
For fantasy, yes.
For fantasy?
What running backs are you taking before him? McCaffrey?
McCaffrey, Nick Chubb. I'm trying to think. I'm taking Breece Hall over him.
Jacobs, right? What's the story with Jacobs?
Josh Jacobs, you don't know if he's going to come into camp.
If you have your draft coming up here very soon, if the draft's in a couple weeks, it could sort itself out. Jacobs would be one that.
Yeah, I mean,
the way he catches the ball. It also, your scoring with receptions obviously is big. Although Derrick Henry had his best fantasy year catching the ball last year.
So would you take? I would take Saquon from a fantasy standpoint. From a fantasy standpoint,
I'd take Tony Pollard over Derrick Henry. I know it's a
Mike
bold
Sanders
statement.
Over Derrick Henry.
I know it's a bold statement, but
Mike Sanders, would you take him? Because
that's an unknown to me. Because he's on a new team.
But now he's on a new team.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me see. We got McCaffrey, Travis Etienne.
Etienne is a really interesting one. I would say, who did you mention just before Etienne? McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
So McCaffrey, do they try what they did last year some, and that is not go to the well too often. Because when McCaffrey was at his best and he was, he was catching for 1,000 yards, he was catching 80 passes, his touches were higher. It seems like they're trying to go less is more, even though his efficiency was excellent last year. It was a great bounce back, but you always do have to worry a little bit about the injury with him, don't
Austin Eckler, yeah. You do.
Austin Eckler is another one. If
he's number one.
If it's pass catching and you get more points for the PPR, then there's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer.
So, and I know people are probably listening. They probably just turn on the radio. What, y'all taking all these backs over Derrick Henry? No, we're talking about from a fantasy standpoint. Now, if
so they still have him 5th at ESPN.
You still have him
not
5th.
all of these guys are ranked ahead of him on ESPN's board. I have not looked to see how they rank those guys.
Yeah, so to me, I've always said this, and I'm going to stand by it. If we're talking strictly running the football, I'm taking Derrick Henry all day, every day, until he retires, or until he's not a Titan. But if you're talking running back, and because what encompasses a running back in today's NFL, catching the football and running the football, then he would be further down my depth chart. He may be a 5th or a 6th person in regards to fantasy, not in real life.
Right.
Real life, I'm taking Derrick Henry to run the football. But if you're talking run and catch, Derrick is down the line. Even though the Titans did use him a little bit more, I'm not going to say they used him a lot, but they used him a little bit more in the past game, a lot of it was screenplays or just like swing. He was never in the route per se. He was never like my first, second, or third option. He was usually that outlet guy, unless it was a screenplay.
He caught one pass on third down last year.
Yeah.
And he was
that tells
excellent.
you a lot.
A lot of screen passes, and he broke some big ones. And so fantasy, it doesn't matter what down it is.
Yeah, it does.
But he is not on the field much on third down. He's not going to be running the routes, probably off the field, especially if Spears
and a lot
turns
he's
out.
going to be off the field this year because of Spears if he shows up.
And we're going to get to Spears in our next segment because they do the distribution of carries to the wide receivers and the running backs. We're going to talk about that when we come back. We're talking a little fantasy here. ESPN has got their fantasy football marathon. A big part of it is Tim Hasselbeck. He will join us at 12:30. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more here on 102.5 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players. I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs.
Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Men, listen up. I need to tell you something about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife Daphne, along with that experienced and wonderful staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. You can include me in that, many men in the Brentwood, Nashville area as well. They are there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. So there's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. Men, what are you waiting for? You got to take care of yourselves. So we need it. So go to Cool Springs MD. Here's the number. Go see Dr. Jeffrey Lodge. Make that appointment, 615-486-3458, 615-486-3458, or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Hang on. It's going to be a wild ride. The PBR team's champions, the Nashville Stampede, are coming home in a run to defend their title.
Yo, we coming.
Stampede Days, August 18th through 20th at Bridgestone Arena. Heart-pounding action you don't want to miss. Tickets start at $20. Get yours today at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.com.
Yo, we coming.
Join us for the ride.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? Some brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome.
We're back here at the Game Studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Willie Donick, Derek Mason here with you. We're talking fantasy football right now. And coming up at the bottom of the hour, Tim Hasselbeck will join us. We won't just do fantasy with him. We want to get his analysis of especially the young quarterbacks. Malik Willis, Will Levis. What did he see? He's got some good opinions on it. We might sneak in a fantasy question, but right now, we're going through. ESPN's doing their fantasy football marathon, so I know in the next couple weeks, all of you will have your drafts. And so we hit on Derrick Henry in the last segment. We hit on Ryan Tannehill. Now let's get to where we think the ball is going to go, or at least where in the fantasy minds of ESPN they think the ball is going to go. They have DeAndre Hopkins ranked 22nd among wide receivers. That's quite a bit further down the chart than he has been in the past. And they have Treylon Burks at 36th. So, D-Mace, let's say you're picking wide receivers. How high would you go on Hopkins, the more, established guy, but he's on a new team, and the up-and-comer Burks? It's going to be a really interesting strategy, I think, especially here locally. So many people follow the Titans. And when you're drafting amongst a lot of people that are watching the Titans every weekend, that changes the draft a little bit. So I'm curious where both of those guys are going to go.
Well, the way it looks, the way they have them ranked, people are not going to draft them too high in their fantasy leagues. But in regards to, the share of the passing game, if you're asking me, in order for this Tennessee Titans offense to be what they want it to be, then even from a fantasy standpoint, I think Treylon Burks has to be your guy. I think he has to be, not taking any away from D-Hop, but he is your playmaker. Treylon Burks has the ability to open up the game for you. He has the ability to take a 5-yard and make it a 45 or a 55. He has the ability to go up and get the ball. He's physical. He's strong. He can break tackles. Not only break tackles, he can run after breaking tackles, run away from people. So to me, he has to be your number one focus in the pass game. Then D-Hop, then Chikakonkwo.
Okay, and they have Okonkwo 16th among tight ends. And so put all that together, they have the projected target share. Where is the ball going to be thrown? Mm-hmm. They have Hopkins at 24%, Burks 19%, Okonkwo 12%. So that is the fantasy projection. Now, ideally, in your mind, how would you flip those numbers? It sounds to me like you think Burks should have a higher share than Hopkins?
Yeah, it should be flipped.
It should be flipped.
It should be flipped because, listen, I'm looking at it from this standpoint. Unless Tim Kelly is, and it has happened. It happened with me and Cam Cameron. When Cam Cameron became the offensive coordinator in Baltimore, my yards per catch went up because of the way we ran the offense. Play action, finding those sweet spots down the middle of the field or on outside. So the only way that works is if, Tim Kelly tries to get Hop down the field a little bit more in ways where he's going to be open, where it's not going to be coverage, finding the zone, finding the holes in those zones, putting them in stack, putting them in bunch so no one's on him so he can get a free release. If that happens, then yes, Hop, he will be much more of a fantasy contributor because now he goes from averaging, 9, 10 yards. He averaged 10 yards last year with the Cardinals, somewhere around there, 10, 11 yards. He'll go from averaging that to 13. That's big, So to me, that only works if the offense is geared in such a way where we're clearing out and pushing D-Hop underneath at that 10, 12, 13-yard range. If you want him to catch these quick slants and these, turnaround, as they have been doing in practice and everything else, turn around, catch a 5-yard pass, and then get tackled, this offense is not going to operate well like that if Treylon Burks is not catching as many passes as DeAndre Hopkins. They need to push the ball down the field. And the only guy that they can do that with from the receiver position, I believe, legitimately and consistently, is Treylon Burks.
So where does Chig fit into this? Because I agree with you that ideally that Burks blossoms and there's not as much pressure for Hopkins to have to carry it and you have that dilemma for defenses saying, well, look, we got to account for Burks and we got to account for Hopkins. Now you've got Chig in there too. That's where you might have something. And once again, we're talking about an offense that really struggled last year. So the bar is low. It wouldn't take much. Just give me an average top 15 kind of offense. And I could see this if these things happen, if Burks is for real. But what about Chig?
I think Chig, this has to be a season where, and they started doing it sort of the latter part of the year. And I would almost believe the only reason they were not able to do it sooner is because Chig didn't know the whole offense. Once Chig sort of got comfortable with what he was doing, learned more of the offense, not just learning it, but the nuances of the offense and where you need to be, defense, where they're configured, and how you find those open spots. I think he started to figure that out toward the latter part of his rookie year, so they started using him and Austin Hooper a lot more. That works this season because now he has a full year in this offense. He should be comfortable in what they're doing. So now I don't have to wait till he catches up. He should be already at a point where we go in and he's one of our main focuses. In this league, the offense has become, the tight end has become critical in what you do because it poses a matchup problem for defenses. You can't cover Chig with the safety. He's too fast for a lot of these safeties. You can't cover him with a linebacker. He's too fast for a linebacker. Can't cover him with a DB. He's too physical for a defensive back. So what do? After a while, you start to combo coverage him. You start to double coverage him. Well, Chig, he needs to, or I believe he will, cause defenses to pay more attention to him, which will ultimately open it up more for Hop and Traylon. But Chig, he needs to be a focal point of what they're doing in the passing game because him of all guys poses a serious matchup problems, even more so than Traylon, I believe, a matchup problem for those that are going to cover him.
I would say last year, the overwhelming majority of fantasy leagues probably never had any of the Titans receivers in the lineup. Even Chig. Chig might have been a wild card. You might throw in there hoping for, but he could get zero just as easily as having a couple of big plays here and there. If he is in lineups consistently, and D-Hop and Traylon Burks, that's a good sign for the Titans offense.
Of course.
So if you as a fantasy owner want them in there, that's good. And keep in mind, and I'm looking at Aaron Schatz's new football almanac. He's no longer with Football Outsiders. I got to get used to the new thing. It's fantasy driven. They ran 2 tight end sets. The Titans did 42% of the time, which was 4th highest in the league. So you're going to see Chig and another tight end on the field a lot, unless Tim Kelly goes in a totally different direction. But that means Chig will be on the field a lot if that's the case. And then finally, let's hit this before we go to Tim. Projected rush share. Henry 67%, Spears 16%. That's what ESPN says. That would be quite a bit higher for the second running back than in years past. Do we think that's going to happen? Believe in Spears.
I think if this offense wants to be multiple, if it wants to be, this diverse offense, then those numbers sound about right. I'm not even throwing in Chestnut or whoever else makes the team.
But Spears is the key.
But Spears is the key. If he showed some flashes this past weekend. If he can continue to pick up on the offense, then I think that's about right for me. But I think what's going to happen is early on they're going to figure out if Tajay Spears is he picked up on the offense, and if he has, I think you will see a little bit less of Derrick Henry at the beginning of the season. But I think as the season goes, the latter part of the season, they're going to feel, okay, we need to ramp this up with Derrick Henry a little bit more. Because we saved him the first half, and we were able to save him because of what Tajay Spears did. But now we need to ramp it up a little bit more. And now we can add both of them in the backfield at the same time.
All right, when we come back, we'll get Tim Hasselbeck's perspective on all of this, some fantasy, some Titans, and in particular his evaluation of the 2 young quarterbacks on Saturday in Chicago. Stay tuned. We're coming up.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
Not down in front, rebound, and the score!
On your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Football season is quickly approaching, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long. Because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get a bonus bet every time they win in the regular season. That's right. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/JGM and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/JGM. Hard for me to say go against the Chiefs right now, just because let's not kid ourselves about the luck that Kansas City has had based off of their coach and quarterback. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Max bonus $50 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Summer's winding down, and now's a perfect time to dial up your back-to-school plans. Lincoln Tech's NADC offers hands-on training programs in fields like auto and diesel technology, heavy equipment maintenance, and welding that last about a year. Enroll now for August classes at their Nashville campus, and by next summer, you could be starting a rewarding new career. To help finance your future, Lincoln is awarding nearly $20 million in scholarships and grants to students of all ages. Visit lincolntech.edu today for info and to schedule a campus tour.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. Are you looking for a luxury home on over an acre, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, and close to 7,000 square feet? 6551 Brownlee Drive in Nashville's Westmead neighborhood offers that and a 4th car garage, all by an award-winning builder. Text the number 1 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home on the radio? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Get your sexy on.
It's time to talk to Tim Hasselbeck, who has been a busy man. Let's hope Tim has kept hydrated, things like that. He's done a lot of talking at this fantasy football marathon, which has been really cool to watch. You've given us some things to discuss, which we have today. Tim, how are you today?
I'm great. How you guys doing?
How's the stamina? Like, how's the marathon going? Are you still in the marathon? Are you taking time out from the marathon?
I mean, I'm still in the marathon. I guess I'm equivalent of like taking a water break, or you guys, because you guys are from Boston. Like, there was a woman one time who like won the Boston Marathon, but she cheated. And
Yes, like Rosie Ruiz. Yes.
Yeah, Rosie Ruiz. You're a runner. You know, like. I got a little Rosie Ruiz going on right now. Like, poor Field Yates, like he's like start to finish, like, he looks like he's 16 still. By the end of this marathon, he's going to look like he's 56. He'd be so tired.
Oh, boy. All right, so we do have some fantasy questions for you, but I know a lot of the Titans fans would love to hear your evaluation of Malik Willis and Will Levis from Saturday. So let's set the table with this first. What is important to you looking at these games? Because obviously, let's use Trey Lance, for example. His stats, if you just look at the stats, they don't look that bad. He has like 100 quarterback rating, but most people who watched the game said, whoa, had some issues there. So What is important to you to see from young quarterbacks when you watch a preseason game?
Yeah, so I would start by saying it's not the stats, because as everyone watched the Bears offense this weekend, there were 2 passes thrown behind the line of scrimmage that go for about 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. My issue with those are that there's a block in the back and then a legal man downfield on them. And so, if you just look at the stats, you're like, wow, look at these Bears. But, the reality is, there is a lot more to that story, I think. Anyway, so, no, you can't just look at the stats. To me, I look at situations and how a guy handles it, what he looks like, does he look comfortable. So, Bryce Young's stats don't look good, but I thought he looked comfortable. He played on time. There just was a pace to his play that I thought was really good. My kind of reaction, and I feel like I had a pretty strong one in terms of Will Levis. I felt like it was a huge missed opportunity for him. By so many accounts, Malik Willis has the upper hand, but it feels like it's a legit competition for the backup spot behind Ryan Tannehill. And when you look at the end of the game situation, you just don't know when you're going to get those. And when you do get them, you need to take advantage of them. And so I thought the missed throw that would have been the game winner, while it wasn't going to be the easiest play to make, you had to climb through traffic, that's just a play you have to make. And then, I thought that he should have thrown the underneath route on the next play. It was 20 seconds when that ball was snapped. Would have gotten you the first down. You would have had another chance, to take a shot at the end zone at that point. So I did not think that he handled the situations great. And I think that's what you want to see a backup quarterback do, especially a young one, because he might be thrown into a game where you're like, listen, we just need you need to help us win the game, handle the situation right, and win the game.
So your evaluation of Levis is not that he looked awful, but he left some things on the table that could have made it a pretty good debut.
Yes, because, look, you don't know. The next time he gets the chance to be in at the end of the game, it might be a 4-minute drive scenario where you didn't even throw the football. And so I just think that if you come into the league not as a first-rounder and you're competing against a guy who, probably is in a similar, situation as you, and it's a legit competition, it's hard to find those. Those typically don't happen in the NFL. It's usually hey, we've drafted this guy, even if you outplay him, we're keeping him, or this guy's the starter because of his contract. And so I think how you respond in those, situations have a huge impact on your career.
We'll talk with Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst. You're right, Tim, because Mike Vrabel sort of had that same sentiment when it comes to Will Levis. He said that Will needs to let the game come to him and just take what's out there, meaning don't try to make a play that's not there. Take what the defense gave you. And from what you're saying, that last series, those last 2 plays, more importantly, the last one, he could have hit the underneath route, got a first down, and then had another play to sort of try to win the game. And I do you think those are situations for a young quarterback where he's sort of, looking over his shoulder, seeing what the other quarterback did prior to him, and then wanting to make the play instead of making a safe play to give yourself another opportunity to win a game?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt when you're in a competition, you're aware of what, the guy you're competing with has done. I mean, listen, I can remember competing against A.J. Feely for a backup job in Philadelphia, and, he went out and he was 8 for 12 and threw a touchdown. That was I was all right, this ball can't hit the ground when I go out there. Man, it's just how you feel. And so I do think that can impact you. But to me, I feel like that situation at the end of the game was a little bit more of just not being aware of the situation and what could happen. And the fact that, there's, like I said, 19 seconds left, go ahead and get the first down. Get one more play where, like you might actually be able to throw it into the end zone, have time because you're a little bit closer. And look, I think sometimes some of it has to do with like maybe a little bit of frustration because of the play before. But like those are things I think you just have to learn, and I'm sure they'll talk about them where they'll say, hey, look, like right here, like we don't need this, desperation heave right here. Like there's still football left. Like that's how that play felt to me.
Now, looking at Malik Willis and what he was able to do, we discussed that yesterday. And I said Malik did okay, but there were some plays out there that I believe he left. I thought anytime he sort of was off or close to being off, it was always high, which tells me, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, which tells me he's not following through on a lot of his passes, which in turn allows those to sort of float higher. Even on some of the completions, they were above the shoulders where they didn't have to be. I just think there's still some things he needs to learn, and I'm sure he will, because he's looked totally different from what he did last year.
Yeah, here's what I think. A lot of times when the ball is high, a couple of things happen. You're either overstriding, which raises your left shoulder, which lowers your right elbow, and like those are things that can lead to you just kind of being off a little bit. And I think sometimes that can happen when you're a little too amped up. You're a little like a quarterback is interesting. Like, you see these guys run out of the tunnel and they're all fired up and they're jumping up and down and going crazy and all that stuff. But like at the same time during a play, like you can't play faster than the play should happen. And I think with Malik, that's one of the things that like I think he needs to kind of find like what that rhythm is, what that pace is. Because, when you play too fast as a quarterback, like there's like just things aren't as clear. Like the route doesn't define itself as quickly. You can't see the receiver's angle as well as you should see it. And so, I think that's the type of thing where he can really improve. But I would just say this with him. If you just look at the year-over-year improvement from first action last year to this year, like everything has slowed down a lot for him. I mean, a year ago it was drop back as fast as you can. It's not there. Hey, like I'm taking off and running. Like so much so, Mike Vrabel was like, "Yo, we when guys are open, we need to throw them the football." So I think that development is already encouraging.
Now, do you like the way they handled the offensive line? Because the offensive line did pretty good their first series, but I would have loved to see them go another series, considering, where they're at and how they need to not necessarily, well, they do need to prove themselves, but they also need to gel. I would have loved to see them play possibly another series.
Yeah, it's interesting because I do think that playing in some of these preseason games is helpful. You're trying to, weigh the risk reward of that. I mean, look at the Denver Broncos. Like they had their first unit out there for a while. It was like, look, we're going to keep you out there until you have success. And, while they ended up having success, the flip side of that is, what if something would have happened to Jerry Jeudy, in the second quarter? And so, look, while, you want an offensive line to play well as a unit, while you want them to get the live reps, look, you only have so much depth and you have injuries. Guys aren't just sitting out there on the street that can come in and start 10 games for you. So, I think it's probably more a product of, look, we're really going to evaluate you guys in practice. There's a lot we can see from you as a group in practice. And look, there might be some other position battles that we're trying to figure out in terms of, look, are we going to try to keep you on the practice squad? Are you going to be the 8th guy, the 9th guy? Like what is our plan? And I think, oftentimes the preseason is as much used for that as it is getting a group of guys to play well together.
Good stuff from Tim Hasselbeck. He's going to join us for one more segment on the other side if he has enough stamina. if he's doing the Rosa Ruiz rest for the marathon that's going on with the fantasy football on ESPN. He has been tasked a lot. So I'm not sure he's coming out of his basement today. I mean, is somebody bringing you food, Tim? Are you getting enough supplies?
Listen, I sneak out every now and then. Listen, you're not going to get any complaints out of me when I know that, like, there are people there. Like, I mean this. Like, I remember the first year we did this. You know, Matthew Berry, I think, almost died. Like, that's the first year we did it. And Adam Schefter, they rolled a cart into the green room for Adam Schefter, like a cot, I should say, for Adam Schefter. And I just remember thinking, like, I wasn't positive that Schefter was human just because the guy's, like, such a machine. But, like, Schefter got tired. And I was like, see, like, this is inhumane. It's just, it's not okay.
This is crazy. All right, we're coming back on the other side for more football talk with Tim Hasselbeck from ESPN. Stay tuned.
Green right, Fox 2 run, double catch. He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback.
Wide 85, take!
Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1 year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Warmer months have you working overtime? Be sure to visit Parman Tractor and Equipment for all your New Holland tractor and bush hog needs. Swing by our store at 3570 Dickerson Pike in North Nashville or give our sales team a call. We're now offering 0% financing for 72 months on select New Holland tractors. Get the brands you trust from a local dealer like Parman, always ensuring totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com for the best deals on equipment, New Holland tractor, bush hog, and more.
Calling all Nashville Sounds baseball fans. You know the 312 Pizza Company in Germantown is the best place to be before or after a Sounds game, but this season, it gets even better. Stop by 312 Pizza Company before or after any Nashville Sounds home game with your day of ticket and get a free old style beer. That's right, you get a free old style beer from 312 Pizza just for watching Sounds baseball. Only redeemable with purchase. See you at 312 Pizza Company all baseball season long. 312 Pizza Company, a proud sponsor of your Nashville Sounds.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You want to know how to get better rates, better coverage, and better service on your home and auto insurance? Work with Zander Insurance. I know it's a big promise, but this team delivers. They've been around for almost 100 years and have earned the privilege of representing dozens of insurance companies so they can shop, compare, and find you the best options available. More options mean more savings, and in many cases, better coverage. But it doesn't stop there. Each year, they review your coverage to make sure your rates stay competitive. Nobody else does that. And when it comes to service, just check out their ratings. Zander is one of the top agencies in the industry, and they earned that spot with their commitment to making sure their clients are taken care of like family. That's what sets them apart. Go to Zander.com for quick online quotes or call 800-356-1780 for that personal touch that you've been missing.
Lebanon now has a new Dunkin' store, and the Game invites you to join us this Friday morning for their grand opening at 350 Highway 109 North in Lebanon. We will be there with great giveaways and free stuff. That's this Friday morning at the new Next Gen Dunkin' in Lebanon.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
They're homegrown in Nashville, discussing the biggest topics in the SEC.
The fans are going to want the rivalries to stick around. They've lost to Alabama every year.
The NFL.
What if all the top three quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3? You've got to draft your guy at 2.
And anything in between.
From thinking we know everything to then forgetting about everything we thought we knew the day before.
They're Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on Outkick's Hot Mic.
Out of the gates, ready to go.
Weekdays from 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You ready? Yes.
Segment number 2 with Tim Hasselbeck from ESPN, talking football with him. Tim, this is something we discussed yesterday. So many podcasts and clips on ESPN or whatever channel you're turning to watch the reaction from week 1 centers around the young quarterbacks. So let's take a piece of news that just came out. The Colts have named Anthony Richardson the starting quarterback. Now, they've got Garrett Minshew, who would have been a decent placeholder for a few weeks. They decided not to go that route. They are handing him the job, Richardson. Depending on who you talk to around the draft, there were some that thought, hey, the Colts like Levis. Maybe Will Levis could have been their guy. Regardless, Will Levis is in a totally different situation where he's battling Malik Willis just to become the backup. So what do you think about the development path between those two guys? What are the strengths and weaknesses of being handed the job as opposed to having to try to battle your way up the ladder?
Well, I mean, I think because of how they came into the league, it's two completely different scenarios, right? So, like, when you're drafted not in the first round, you don't know if you will ever get a chance to be a starter. Like, that's how it goes. Like, you might, but, you also might not. And so, whereas if you're drafted in the first round, at some point, even if you are not even like if you're not the best player, they're starting you. Like, there's almost just like this there's just this understanding that that's going to happen. Like, there's never going to be a guy that's drafted in the first round that is never at some point just like not appointed the starter. Like, that's how it works. If you are not drafted in the first round, you don't know when your opportunity will come. So I guess I would just like kind of start with it, saying it that way. So like the path in the development are really different, but there's also a confidence of your opportunity that's drastically different in both scenarios. And I would just say this. I think it's easier to improve at playing the position when you actually play it. So like the interception Richardson throws in the first preseason game there, like he'll learn from it. And it's easier to learn from it than had he watched Gardner Minshew do it. Mm-hmm. Now, you need to have some success so that you don't just totally lose your confidence. But I think he has so much raw ability, and they're going to be able to run him, and they're going to be able to do different things with him, that's not a problem. And then I would just say for like Levis and his development, look, what happens if he's a third quarterback this year? What if Ryan has a great year and no other quarterbacks play? And like his next opportunity to beat out Malik Willis as the backup doesn't come for another year. So I would much rather be in a situation where it's like, look, we're putting you out there and it's sink or swim based on can you do it or not.
I want to ask you one more thing about Levis mechanic-wise, because we hit this a lot yesterday. It's it's crazy. We're really ultra analyzing a couple of plays, and in the big picture, like you said, you got to learn from your mistakes, and hopefully there's a lot of other chapters to discuss. But I noticed some things when you watch Levis at practice and in the games, and one of the examples is the play that you mentioned where the second to last play that the Titans have, he's got a chance to hit the crossing route. If he hits him in stride, the guy could score, and we're talking about, hey, what a great debut. He led him on a winning touchdown drive. He sort of throws it sidearm across his body like a second baseman turning the double play. And I wonder about like the Mahomes factor, that Mahomes has completed so many passes where all of us are saying, man, that's not how you teach a quarterback to throw, but he does it. Levis has a little bit of that. He flicks it, he'll throw it sidearm, and I wonder how the coaches see that. Do they let him go with that, or do they try to say, okay, it's time to square your shoulders, step into the throw, the mechanics that you traditionally would teach a quarterback?
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt that the acceptable mechanics have changed a lot in the last 6 years in terms of throwing a football for quarterbacks. But to your point, not everybody is Patrick Mahomes. I'll give you an example for me. Like, I would watch DJ Uiagalelei warm up at Clemson. And he basically was a guy that was supposed to be amazing. He was going to win the Heisman Trophy, all this stuff. And he failed at Clemson. and I would watch him warm up before the game, and it was like he had like hey, I'm going to try to recreate every crazy Patrick Mahomes throw. And it was like, no, that's not your problem. Like, your problem is like you're missing the layups. Like, you need, like, let's get more fundamental. Like, let's get more just make the routine play. And so, look, if Kirk Cousins was going to try to beat Patrick Mahomes, that's not good for
It wouldn't
Kirk.
go well.
No, but let me tell you something. He's a great quarterback playing like with his skill set in like with his fundamentals. And so I do think there's an element of, everybody trying to make like, the highlight throw, the amazing throw. And I think there's too many people that it's like, actually, if you just hit all the gimmies, if you just made all the layups, you'd play a long time in this league.
Yeah, sort of like the Stephen Curry thing. If you just shoot the ball, you'll be fine. Don't try to shoot it like Steph Curry, okay? Don't try to shoot it and run and run to the other basket thinking you're going to make it. It doesn't work that way. But some guys try it. They try it just because they think it's easy, because they see Stephen Curry do it a lot. And I think these young quarterbacks see Patrick Mahomes doing it, and they figure, I can do it too. But everybody's not Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, here's if I can just on this, like, here's the deal. Like, Andy Reid's great because he lets these guys play with their personality. It's why he had a great relationship with Brett Favre. It's like, Andy's pretty, he's really, really good. But, like, everyone would be the first one to tell you, like, there are certain things you just don't do as a quarterback. Like, maybe you get away with it. Like, you don't throw back across your body into the middle of the field. Like, there are things you don't do because, like, it's just been proven. The risk-reward just isn't there. Now, Patrick, because he's a freak, gets away with it. But, like, that's Patrick. Like, we're already talking about him maybe being the best all time, like surpassing Brady. But, like, let's look at all these other guys that are uber talented. I don't care if it was Jay Cutler. I don't care if it's Zach Wilson. Like, other really talented players that have an amazing ability to throw the football. Like, not everyone can get away with that.
Now, before we get you out of here, Tim, the Jets. Let's get away from the Titans, but the Jets. And Greenberg he's leading
Tim was
the
on
charge.
there this morning with those guys.
He's leading the charge with the Jets. But what I can say about Greeny is that when the Jets have been bad, he has pointed it out. But now, man, oh, man, he is leading the charge because now they have got one Dalvin Cook. And I know he's just dreaming about how he's going to, be on a parade going down, Fifth Ave with that trophy. So what do you think of the Jets and them, getting Dalvin Cook? Is it Super Bowl or bust for them now?
What's interesting about that is, I actually think that they were loaded at running back as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love their running back room. Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Bam Knight, Israel Abanikanda. Like, they have really good running back room. Now, listen, Dalvin Cook's a very proven player. He's a 3-down back. I think he ultimately helps them. But, I did not see that as a hole in their roster. Now, it's a long season. Hall's coming off of the ACL injury. There are a lot of factors. But, to me, I think the Jets are going to be really good. I think they're a contender to win the Super Bowl. I think Aaron's going to have a great year. I think they have a championship defense. I do not believe that Dalvin Cook somehow changes how I feel about that team drastically.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, there are a lot of people that it seemed like the Dalvin Cook, acquisition sort of put the Jets over the hump. Like, it's you have to at least get to the Super Bowl, because if you don't, then why did you make all those moves?
Are they now to the top of the hype train?
Did you think that was the case before the Cook signing, though?
I think it was the same thing. I think it was Super Bowl or bust now, but it seems like they have no excuses, barring injury. If you stay pretty much healthy throughout the season, people are going to be disappointed if they don't at least make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think they had a good shot at it.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, you've got more marathoning to do. Keep hydrating, and make sure that you finish this thing strong.
All right, I'll do my best. 5-hour energy, just heart would be racing.
Go green.
Yeah, go white.
Oh, there was still a little
hesitation.
Just a
little
bit.
hesitation.
It wasn't clean. Next week will be better. Tim, thanks for joining us.
Yes, you did. You mentioned Kirk Cousins, the
He
best
did.
quarterback in the NFL.
See you, fellas.
All
All right, Tim Hasselbeck joining us, taking time out from the Fantasy Football Marathon going on ESPN right now. We've got a final hour coming up, some really good things that he said that we can delve into. Stay tuned. We're coming back.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Tennessee, when you bet on Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town, you get the best reward possible. Cold, hard cash. You bet with your own money, so why accept anything less from your rewards program? With Zen Sports, you earn cash on your bets, cash on your referrals bets, and a welcome bonus in, you guessed it, cash. So stop settling for Vegas rewards when we're in Tennessee. Cash in your old sportsbook for Zen Sports. Your wallet will thank you later. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
Check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. The Tennessee Titans are headed to Minnesota to take on the Vikings in their second preseason game. There's a backup quarterback battle brewing in this preseason. Tim Hasselbeck joined Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace and shared his thoughts on the competition.
My kind of reaction, and I feel like I had a pretty strong one in terms of Will Levis. I felt like it was a huge missed opportunity for him. By so many accounts, Malik Willis has the upper hand, but it feels like it's a legit competition for the backup spot behind Ryan Tannehill.
Tune in this evening to 94.9 The Fan as the Nashville Sounds are back in action at home as they take on the Charlotte Knights, the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 1063.
79-52 Vanderbilt. I think he's going to coach up by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 1025 and 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
1 hour to go here on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Caroline is in the on-deck circle. She is filling in for Jared this afternoon. Jared has headed up to Minnesota for the Vikings-Titans week, which will culminate in the preseason game number 2, but they've got the scrimmage practices coming up, the live practices, which we'll have our eyes on very, very extensively over the next couple of shows. Join 102.5 and 106.3 The Game this Sunday for Middle Tennessee Athletics Fan Day, MTSU Athletics Fan Day. Fans can come out to see the football, volleyball, track, and field teams as the fall season is weeks away. You can get autographs, enjoy live music along with inflatables, face painting, balloon artists for the kids. The fun will be at Floyd Stadium from 3 to 5 on Sunday, so don't miss out on that. Also, tomorrow we've got our trivia night to benefit stars, and it's over at Boom Ba's on the east side. Boom Ba's East in the 5 Points area. If you're familiar with East Nashville, if you're not, come on over. We're going to have a great time tomorrow, raise some money for a great cause, and we're going to have a blast. It's trivia night. I'm the game show host. I've always wanted to be a game show host, so this is kind of like my second thing when I get a chance to do this. The third time we've done it at Boom Ba's. D-Mace will be there. Caroline will be there. We're recruiting some of the Predators broadcasters. Might have a little flavor from them. They were there last year, and, man, Hal Gill, I thought, wasn't going to get out of there alive because we heckled him so bad.
Yeah.
And he was fighting back.
Yeah, but that's Hal.
That's guilty.
So you're going to channel your inner Pat Sajak.
Bob
Barker. Steve Harvey.
Drew Carey.
Chuck Woolery.
Yeah, he's going to channel all that in one.
Oh, yeah. No question. Regis Philbin. Do you need more time? Remember that?
That was on ABC.
Yeah. So that's tomorrow night at 7. We'd love for you to come by. If you want to text us on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, text us and say you'd like to come. We'll get in touch with you with all the details. It's $20 per person if you want to win the prizes. And we have great prizes. Concert tickets, Predators tickets, Sounds tickets. It's going to be your choice if your team wins. But we ask that you pay the $20, but you get $2 beers, free appetizers for coming. So you're going to have your money's worth for sure. You're going to help a good cause. So tomorrow night at Boom Ba's East. So just text us, 615-737-1025, if you want to come play. Just let us know. And you can decide tomorrow. You can show up the day of if you want to. That's tomorrow night at 7. All right, let's delve into a couple things that Tim said, Derek, that I thought were very interesting. In fact, a texter, Brian, says Tim was talking about Will Levis's last couple of passes. Tim's big thing, if you missed it, was that he thought Will Levis had a great opportunity to have a big impact and missed out on the last couple of passes. Like, he gets the ball back. They weren't sure they were going to get the ball back, but he gets in there. It's his turn because they alternated the series to get the ball, and he missed a throw that he could have made. And he even said it after the game. He said, I'd really feel good about it if I'd hit that last throw and we'd have scored. But Brian points out on our text line that Malik Willis had a 2-minute opportunity right before that with timeouts. They got the ball down inside the 10, and then the drive stalled there too. So he also had an opportunity. I would say that most people's observation was that Willis graded out better because of the opening drive. He looked like he'd improved, but he also left something on the table as well. I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, I think both quarterbacks left something on the table. Both quarterbacks had an opportunity to win, to do better. Obviously, Will Levis had an opportunity to be sort of the hero of the day with that last drive. But I think all in all, there were things that both quarterbacks wish they could have done differently. Willis got more opportunities, and I'm sure, Levis may get more opportunities this game. I think they will probably more than likely allow him to go with the first team offensive line. Let's see how he does.
That will be interesting, what the game 2 looks like, because on one hand, since Willis is higher on the depth chart, he probably earned the ability to play with the first offensive line in that first drive, and he made the most of it. That was the most impressive part of the game. Do they give Levis another shot? And do they give him a chance, or does he have to earn it this week, like these practices against the Vikings?
I think the practices against the Vikings will help, but I think if you want to see both quarterbacks, I'm not saying they need to go away from the one series in, one series out. I'm not saying that, but I do believe if you want to get a true evaluation of both quarterbacks, you got to give Will Levis an opportunity to play with that first line offense, with that first team offensive line, and see if he can have some of that same success that Malik Willis had. Now, when you take the first team offense off, or the first offensive line, I think both guys still had there was an amount of success, even playing with the second offensive line. But I think you'll get a clearer picture if Willis is playing with that first team offensive line. And listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say, one guy played better than the other. I think both guys played well. I think both guys have improvement to make moving forward. I believe that Will Levis should get an opportunity with the first team offensive line to see if he can have some of that success that Malik Willis had with the first team offense. So it's yet to be seen, but I think both guys did fairly well, but I think they still have a ways to go, both of them.
And would we feel, and it's crazy because it would be one play in one game, but if either of them had hit the winning touchdown, don't you think there'd be a lot of hype that would naturally come with that? Like if Levis hits the crossing route, or Willis, when they got down the drive before, had cashed and made a great play, a nice throw. Remember, he threw it on 4th down, 4th and goal, back of the end zone.
Yeah. If
he puts it right on the money and the guy makes a great catch, we'd be like, our text line. Texter says, in their first performances. They only played 3 series, but it is very interesting to see everybody sort of really delve in and look at every little thing from all these young quarterbacks. Like they carved up Trey Lance after his first game. Stroud and Richardson, and they couldn't protect those guys. They both look like they've got a long, long way to go as well.
I don't think he talked bad about Will Levis. He just pointed out some things that, because he even came on and said maybe, I may have been a little bit too harsh, at the beginning, or it may have come off as if I was too harsh. But, he clarified it. Like, there are some things that he should have just taken. Like, there were plays for him to be made, simple plays. You got to make the simple plays.
Make your layups.
So, listen, you don't have to, after you make the pass, which would have been a tough pass to make. You're avoiding the defenders. You're sort of going to your left and leaning backwards a little bit, and you try to flick it to a guy that's coming across the middle of the field, 15 yards down the field. Yeah, that's a throw you're going to have to make, but you can't let that throw compound on the next play, which allows you to then miss the underneath guy that would have gotten you the first down and allowed you another down. No, because you didn't hit the crosser, you felt in your mind you had to go for a big play now. Like, I got to get this play in. Well, no, not really. You should have took what the defense gave you. Vrabel said it. Take what you see and don't try to make something that's not there. Take that underneath route. We got another play, time on the clock. We can come and spike it, get the first down, spike it. Now we got time on the clock. As a young quarterback sometimes, and as a young player, when you're in that competition, you think, I got to make the next play. I got it because I missed on this one. I got to make the next play. Well, no. What you got to do is just continue to move the offense. And I think that's what Will Levis will learn. Hopefully he will learn that. Based upon what Malik Willis did last year and this year, I'm sure he will get it. So I don't think, Tim talked like bad about him. I just think he pointed out some things. Just like he pointed out some things on Malik Willis that he missed.
It'll be something to look for today. Tomorrow, the big practices start between the Vikings and the Titans. We'll find out some more about these young quarterbacks. And, by the way, they do have to get Ryan Tannehill ready as well amidst all of this stuff. We would expect that they won't play Tannehill in the game, but he'll get a lot of reps against the Vikings this week. A lot of big things coming for the Titans as they prepare for the season. Stay tuned. We'll come back with more here on 102.5 The Game. Stay tuned.
Hey, we are live and local.
I think Vanderbilt is steady, disciplined.
It's been so long since Tennessee's gotten out of the first weekend.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I don't mind going to another team.
You want to know what the coaching staff's going to look like?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
The path to the PGA Tour runs through Middle Tennessee. The Simmons Bank Open returns September 14th through 17th as part of the Korn Ferry Tour Finals. Catch all the exciting golf action and still not miss a minute of your favorite team's game in the Arctic Tailgate Village. Swing by the Sand Trap and take your shot at the famous floating Guitar Island Green while grabbing a bite from Hattie B's, Hogwood Barbecue, Dream Burger, and wash it down with a cold fashion from Nelson's Greenbrier. Purchase your tickets now at SimmonsBankOpen.com.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
So, if there's brunch, why isn't there dinner?
Or dunch, for that matter.
No, we know why there's no dunch.
Why is that?
People might get confused and miss brunch.
And I never want to miss a brunch this good.
Me either. Cheers.
Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Breakfast buffet Monday through Thursday from 7 till 10:30 a.m. and lunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Weekend brunch Friday through Sunday from 7 a.m. till 2 p.m. featuring cast iron pancakes, made-to-order waffles, and eggs and carafes of mimosas. Treat yourself today to Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Join 102.5 The Game, Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, Nolensville Fire, and Franklin Fire Departments for the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, Wednesday, August 16th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library. This year's blood drive will be in honor of Nolensville Fire Chief David Windrow and retired Brentwood Assistant Police Chief Tommy Walsh. Support the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, held August 16th and 17th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library on Concord Road. Sponsored by B.L. Harbert International.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Sort of, looking over his shoulder, seeing what the other quarterback did prior to him, and then wanting to make the play instead of making a safe play to give yourself another opportunity to win a game?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt when you're in a competition, you're aware of what, the guy you're competing with has done. I mean, listen, I can remember competing against A.J. Feely for a backup job in Philadelphia, and, he went out and he was like 8 for 12 and threw a touchdown. That was like, I was like, all right, this ball can't hit the ground. Like when I go out there, man, it's just like how you feel. And so I do think that can impact you. But to me, I feel like that situation at the end of the game was a little bit more of just not being aware of the situation and what could happen. And the fact that, there's, like I said, 19 seconds left, like, go ahead and get the first down. Get one more play where, like you might actually be able to throw it into the end zone, have time because you're a little bit closer. And look, I think sometimes some of it has to do with like maybe a little bit of frustration because of the play before. But like those are things I think you just have to learn, and I'm sure they'll talk about them where they'll say, hey, look, like right here, like we don't need this, desperation heave right here. Like there's still football left. Like that's how that play felt to me.
Tim Hasselbeck, his analysis of the end of the game against the Chicago Bears. Very interesting to think about that because D-Mace, when you look around the league and there's C.J. Stroud and there's Richardson and there's Bryce Young and there's Trey Lance, there's Jordan Love in Green Bay, a lot of quarterbacks that are under the microscope. What's different about this, what's unique anyway, and this is, I think, a good thing to learn from for Levis and Willis. Like, for example, Malik Willis did a very nice job at the end of the first half in the 2-minute drill, right? Got him down there. They got the field goal. A lot of these young quarterbacks who are presumably, for example, Anthony Richardson has been named the starting quarterback for the Colts. He's not in the game to do the 2-minute drill at the end of the first half or a late game situation in the fourth quarter where you're trying to win the game. So you got to develop in other ways for that. So it's just interesting. Like we're scrutinizing mistakes that are made at the end of a game, and some of these young quarterbacks are out of there after 2 or 3 series. So it's just interesting, different ways that these teams are choosing to put their young guys out there.
Yeah, and you just never know, what they're looking for, what they want to see. Obviously, they want to see the quarterbacks play well, but they may want to see a quarterback in a particular situation. Like, okay, let's put him in a situation where, we may not get any other situation, but this situation right here, second drive in the first quarter, we're backed up. Let's put him in that situation and see how he performs, see how he reacts. So I'm sure there are a million things coordinators and head coaches and GMs want to see when it comes to, that prized possession, which is the quarterback position. So you want to, just like Vrabel said, these guys, whether it's Malik Willis or Will Levis, they're not our starters. They're going to have to come off the bench cold. So that's why we're doing, alternating back and forth, because we got to learn and see how they react in situations that are that will happen in a football game. Like realistic situations. Like when you work out as an athlete nowadays, you're doing things, you're doing movements that you're going to be doing during the game. You're not doing anything. I'm not just running 100 yards. I can get conditioned that way, but that's not what I'm doing, because on every play, I'm not just running flat out 100 yards. I got to run 10 yards. I got to run 5 yards, side-to-side movements, all these other things. So I want to put my quarterback in a position where it's actually going to happen in the game. Ryan Tannehill's the quarterback. Second quarter, oh, my goodness, Ryan goes down, or his shoes come off, and he can't tie his laces. He has to run to the sideline. Well, Malik Willis or Will Levis, this is your opportunity.
It happened with Willis last year a couple times.
Absolutely. So I'm putting y'all in this situation that will happen. We don't want it to happen, but more than likely, you're going to have to come in and play like that. So I like what Vrabel and Coach T did in regards to that. So you just want to put your quarterback in position. So I don't know why, Richardson and Stroud only played so many snaps. I don't know why Bryce Young played more snaps than a lot of them. I don't know why Willis we know why Willis
we know why Willis and Levis did what they did.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know why the coaches for those respective teams chose to play this guy longer or play him on a series and pull him out.
I was listening to some that were talking about the Panthers' decision, and it was simply the Jets were just tearing up their offensive line. They thought Bryce Young was going to get killed, so they got him out of there. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. I do come back to this. This is a big theme of the day for me, is on a day where Anthony Richardson is handed the job, and it is like Tim Hasselbeck said, and you're a high first-round pick, you are going to be the starter. You know you're going to get a chance to start. What you do with it is up to you. But sometimes those guys get thrust in there without, quote, earning it, right? They are deemed the starter before they show that they're good or ready or not ready sometimes. So Richardson, they have a perfectly capable placeholder. They're not expected to win right away, but they've decided, let's just get him in there. We're going to throw him into the deep end, and we're going to hope that he's going to go through some struggles, but he is going to get better faster by playing him. Whereas Will Levis, the faithful Don Juan, he was sitting there going into the draft. He was going to be one of those guys that was going to be a high first-round pick that was going to be given the starting job. His narrative is totally different now because he's a second-round pick that is now trying to compete for the backup job. I just think that's a really interesting plot twist where he was all preparation. It's like, okay, is it Levis? Is it Richardson? Is it how much time did we take up in March and April talking about this?
Who's going to be that pick after Bryce Young?
Yeah.
Which one of these guys are going to be that
But
pick?
now his development path is completely different than those guys.
Well, it should be. It should be, but is it fair? Probably not, but sports isn't always fair.
And I'm not sure. You could argue that it might be better for Levis. With all the skeptics that are out there, I don't know about Levis, man. He struggled against Vanderbilt and Tennessee. This might be better for him because he will have to win the job. He's going to have to earn the job. Whereas Richardson is
Bryce Young
and probably Stroud
are given the job.
Yeah.
And there's something too. And I know everyone that is listening can relate. There's something to you having to work for it and then seeing the fruits of that labor and say, you know what? Somebody just didn't give it to me. I had to, work for everything that I got. There's that. It's different than just being. And everybody, I'm sure there are a lot of people that want things given to them. Hell, I do. But it feels better when you earn it, especially on a sports platform. If you earn that starting position, if you earn that All-Pro, if you earn that MVP, that means a lot. That means you put in the work, and now I see the fruits of my labor. Not to say that Richardson is going to flame out or anything, or Bryce will, or Stroud will. Or Levis won't because, he has to fight through it. It just means a little bit different when you had to work through some challenges or some other people just to get that opportunity to be a starter. Yeah, because the narrative is different. Have Will Levis been drafted in the first round by the Titans? They expected him to – everyone would expect him to be the starter.
Yes.
Not the backup.
We'd have a totally different storyline.
Exactly.
Yes. And who knows where that would have left Malik Willis.
Absolutely.
And Tannehill, for that matter.
Yeah,
we would be talking very differently about Tannehill.
We'll be talking about
Levis
a trade.
Was the first-round pick.
We'll be talking about a trade.
I think so. That would have been in play.
Yeah.
No doubt. But it has gone in a different direction. All right. When we come back, we're going to hit our AFC team of the day, NFC team of the day. We're trying to get you ready for the season. Got some storylines we're going to pass along, and we'll break it down for you. Stay tuned. And by the way, one other thing to pass along, too, don't forget that it's Door Jam Day coming up over on the Vanderbilt campus. So join us, 102.5 The Game, 106.3 The Game. It's Saturday. Door Jam is celebrating Vanderbilt sports at the David Williams Recreation Center. The fun kicks off at 2 o'clock, and it's going to include, as it always does, autograph sessions, photo booths, lawn games. Head out there to support Vanderbilt athletics as the fall sports return in just a few weeks. A week from Saturday, I think. Is that right? A week from Saturday, Vanderbilt versus Hawaii to get it all started. Stay tuned. We're coming back.
The Vanderbilt Commodores are ready for year 3 under head coach Clark Lee.
As we stand now in front of a clean sheet. Our goal is postseason play.
And we are your home for all of the action.
Touchdown, Vandy. The doors on the board. Vandy, 24-21, your final.
Vanderbilt football lives on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
33 hours of savings this Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Electronic Express. These deals are so hot they only last 33 hours. Get a TCL 55-inch 4K TV only $269, or an Avanti laundry pair just $379 each. Save up to 50% on 4K TVs, computers, Bluetooth speakers, appliances, and more. Don't miss out on an Avanti top freezer refrigerator only $499, or a Lenovo laptop for only $349. 33 hours of savings this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
It is red hot in Music City.
On Wednesday, August 16th.
My God, listen to that.
AEW Dynamite and Rampage invade the Bridgestone Arena for a massive night of elite professional wrestling action in Nashville.
We have got a red hot show in store for you tonight.
Don't miss the AEW World Champion MJF.
I'm better than you.
Chris Jericho in the JAS.
I am the Wizard. I am the Ocho. I am Chris Jericho.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Dr. Britt Baker. John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, Chris Statlander, The Acclaim.
Everyone love!
The Outcasts, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, Adam Cole. Wardlow, Swerve, Hangman Page, Hook, Darby Allin, Sting.
This is Sting!
Nashville's own Jeff and Karen Jarrett, and all your favorite stars will be in action live.
Well, that's huge.
Don't miss AEW's only Nashville appearance this year at the Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now. Go to AEWTix.com. Card subject to change.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and the Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Moving forward here on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Caroline is in the afternoon slot today, fill in for Jared. Jared Stillman is up at the practices, which will start tomorrow, between the Titans and the Vikings. And, of course, it'll end with the Vikings-Titans game on Saturday, preseason game number 2. Let's bounce around the NFL. We like to take a team from the AFC and the NFC and break down some of the things going on with them. Today we have selected the Bills from the AFC and the Eagles from the NFC. So, D-Mace, you were talking earlier today. We were talking about how much hype the Jets are getting. And now they've added a high-level name in Dalvin Cook to the mix. You have always been a little skeptical on the Bills. I will give you a little take from the FTN Football Almanac. This is the new Football Outsiders, if you will, Aaron Schatz, who I really like. They say about the 2023 Bills, after 2022's playoff disappointment, they've had 2 really good teams the last couple of years, has not equated to the breakthrough in the playoffs. 2023 Bills, postseason odds, 72%. For example, the Titans are 28% on this website. Mm-hmm. History is full of teams that couldn't get over the hump until the year they finally did. Of course, this is also true in Cincinnati and Dallas and San Francisco and so on. So until they do it, there's going to be this, I'm not sure they can do it. You're in the club of you're not sure that Josh Allen and the Bills can do it.
They had their opportunity. I believe it was primed for them. They had their quarterback in a division that was, the New England Patriots were pretty much a shell of themselves or what they used to be. You have the Jets had a good defense, but they couldn't do anything offensively for the last 2 years. And then you have the Dolphins that were sort of in the mix, but prior to getting Tyreek Hill, they still was a team that was just missing some things offensively and defensively. And you took advantage of that, but you were not able to beat the team, whether it was Cincinnati Bengals or the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. And those two teams ultimately end up going to the Super Bowl. Cincinnati ends up losing to the Rams, but we know what Kansas City was able to do. Their trips to the Super Bowl, lost one, end up winning two of them. This year, this division has gotten so based upon the moves that have been made. Now, the season, once it gets going, that would tell another story.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, this division has become a lot stronger. The Dolphins have their quarterback if he can stay healthy. They have more receivers. They have a running game. They have a defense. I know they're missing Jalen Ramsey for a portion of the season, but I think that defense is still good. And obviously the Jets and what they were able. And I think New England's going to be better than what they were last year. Will they make the playoffs? Probably not, but they're going to be a better team.
They're going to be a tough out.
They got a hell of a defense.
They got a good defense. They just added Zeke Elliott. They usually run the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones is not the worst quarterback.
Exactly.
He may not be a franchise guy.
But then they have an offensive coordinator now.
Yeah, yes. And a
Bill
good
O'Brien.
one.
Exactly.
Bill O'Brien has been a good offensive coordinator.
Absolutely. So I look at the Buffalo Bills, and I look at a team that it's been really interesting. And I said this before, so this is nothing that I haven't said before. Their defense, as good as they are or have been, and I know they missed Von Miller for a portion of the season, but even with that, as good as they have been as a team, and as good as that defense has been, there's still something. When they need to show up big, they don't. The defense don't. And then when they need to show up big again, the quarterback does something just about every time to put his team in a situation where they got to come back and win the football game. Now, some majority of the times, he has to bring them back to win it. But if he didn't make all those mistakes, they wouldn't even be in that situation. When you talk about point differential in the league last year, there was nobody was better than the Buffalo Bills in point differentiation. The Bills were like plus 170 something. And the next team,
when they were good,
I
they
think
dominated.
San Francisco was like plus 170
right.
something.
It's a mark of a dominant team.
Exactly. So they have a dominant team on paper, but sometimes when they get in the game, it's totally different. There's no way with a third-string quarterback that the Buffalo Bills should have been close in that game against Miami. If Miami has their quarterback, Miami wins that game. And now everybody's talking different about Josh Allen. Josh Allen, to me, has not proven he's broken through that ceiling of elite quarterback. He just hasn't.
Okay.
Because he makes way too many mistakes. He had 14 interceptions last year. That's not counting the playoff game.
So that is definitely a nitpick. Here are a couple of nitpicks at a team that we think is going to be a very good team. They're a little older.
Mm-hmm.
14 players on the team, 30 or older. That's something to think about. Another nitpick you get a lot is when really push comes to shove in the playoffs, they cannot run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be able to run better. Do you think that they have addressed that at all? Will they be better in that, or do you, until further notice, are you still skeptical of that?
I guess until further notice. I was just looking at the running back depth chart. James Cook, Damian Harris, Latavius Murray. It doesn't seem like they got
it's
better.
still a committee approach, not a lot of money invested in those guys.
And they need a running game, why didn't they try to go get a Dalvin Cook? Why didn't they try to go get a Zeke Elliott? There's still other running backs that are out there. Why didn't they try to get is Kareem Hunt still out there?
He is still out there.
He is.
There's other running backs that is
that
still
sounded like
out
a fantasy
there.
draft.
Yeah, it did.
Is Kareem Hunt still? Yes, he's still out there.
I'll take him.
You're now on the clock.
But this team had opportunities to address a weak spot of their team, because you're right. That article's right. When it comes to the playoff, they cannot run the football. Hell, they don't run the football much during the season, with the exception of with the quarterback. But if you can't establish yourself in the running game in the playoffs, the odds of you winning goes down tremendously.
All right.
And the Bills haven't been able to do that.
Here's the final one. Do you think the Stephon Diggs weird thing that happened in the offseason, does that come back up, or do you think that's in the past now? Do you think they successfully talked it out?
Only time will tell. Only time will tell, because there's a reason why that came up. There is a reason why that came up.
That was the
and
weirdest
they
thing.
downplayed it. Everybody downplayed it. But there's a reason why he was so peeved after that playoff loss. It's a reason. And like you said, they're not getting younger, whereas all these other teams seem to be getting a little bit younger. The Buffalo Bills are not getting younger.
All right, so your hot take earlier in the show, you think they could finish third?
I think they could
division?
finish third in that division. I think ultimately the Jets, Dolphins, or the Dolphins, Jets, and then the Bills. And I don't think New England's too far behind, honestly. I really don't.
Then they could all end up in the playoffs. Under
Yeah,
that scenario,
could.
they could mathematically, but that would be very interesting if it plays out that way, because that is not how it rolled last year. That division will be different. When we come back, we'll look at the Eagles. I was just in Philadelphia on the way back down on my Odyssey drive with my son. We had a great time. So we have a lot to talk about with Philadelphia. Stay tuned. We're coming back for the final segment of the show after this.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Whatever your destination in life, you can get there easier with a checking account from F&M Bank. At F&M Bank, their checking accounts give you the tools you need to manage your money well, like the smart, free checking account that's actually free. Because banking shouldn't be hard, and sometimes the basics are more than enough. Making lives better by making banking easier. Go see them at one of their 20 locations across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky, or online at myfmbank.com. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC.
Hey everybody, Joe Rexrode here to tell you about PhD Weight Loss. Went into the program with the goal of losing 38 pounds. Hit that goal. I feel great. Loving the food items they provide. No pills involved in there. No gimmicks, no other suppressants, no cravings. It feels good, and I'm in the maintenance situation now, and that's the thing about this. It's sustainable, okay? This program is a plateau-busting program. If you try to lose weight before, you know about the plateau. You kind of stall out, eventually quit, move on to something else. PhD Weight Loss, we're talking constant care. We're talking customized program designed for you, tweaked for you. I have a coach, Rachel. I talk with her every week, and she got me through to the 38 pounds, and now I'm in maintenance, and I'm going to keep it off and maybe lose a little bit more, but you can add a little bit more food to the plate, and this has been very, very easy, very fun. And there's a guarantee. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight at the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. Join me now. You won't regret it. Visit myphdweightloss.com.
It's time to let your voice be heard. Nashville is headed to a runoff in the mayoral race on Thursday, September 14th. Stand up and be counted. Cromwell Media reminds you to get out and vote for the future of our city.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, so D-Mace, let's set the scene. I told you when I came back from vacation, my son and I drove back down from the Northeast. So we drive from Rhode Island to New York, saw a Mets game, to Philadelphia, to Baltimore. So we saw games at Fenway Park, Citi Field in New York, Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, and then Camden Yards. So when we go to Philadelphia, we saw a no-hitter by Michael Lorenzen. First no-hitter I'd ever seen live. But on the way out, the Phillies fans were all jacked up. They're going crazy. A group of them started breaking out into Fly, Eagles, Fly on the way out of the stadium. It's a baseball game.
Like, huh?
And you're looking out, and you're looking right across, and that's where the football stadium is, where the Eagles are about to play. And I'm thinking, wow, they've already got the football fever. But they're celebrating. I guess the Phillies didn't have a fight song. But they had everything. They were hammered, of course, and they kept singing it. They kept re-going. They knew every word, and the next thing you know, hundreds of people are singing along with them. That's one way to celebrate a no-hitter. They even had the fight in there when the –
Really?
Yeah. And then, of course, it ends in the – we didn't play this part with it. E-A-G. So they love their team there. They love their
Eagles.
Team. So that's our NFC team of the day to look for.
Yes.
Postseason odds, according to FTN Football Almanac, 72%. So a little lower, surprisingly, than the Bills, who were at 80%. So that caught my attention there. But I look at the Eagles, 14-3 last year, came very close to winning the whole thing. I think it's legit. The little blurb here, nothing changes but the weather and the linebackers and safeties. But I still see a really good team here. I can't see them taking a big step back. Are they a Super Bowl contender in your mind?
I think they are, as long as that offense. Now, Miles Sanders is gone. Insert DeAndre Swift. They got him from the Lions, I believe, via trade. So from an offensive standpoint, they still got one of the best offensive line led by Lance Johnson in the National Football League. So offensively, as long as they don't have any injuries, and Shane, the head coach, Shane Steichen, right? No, not yet.
Well, Steichen left.
He left
to
he was
run
the coordinator.
Colts.
Yes,
the Eagles, Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, Sirianni. Steichen Sirianni. Now, they are ushering in a new offensive coordinator. So that the offense may look a little different. But as long as those guys stay healthy, I believe this offense is going to continue to do what they've been able to do, because they got an explosive tight end in Goddard. We know they got two explosive receivers in Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And then I think Jalen Hurts is just scratching the surface of his talent. So I think he's going to be even more comfortable in this offense. He has a lot of confidence in his offense. So I think the offense, they're not going to take a step back. Now, the defense is where, there may be some, growing pains here.
Right. They lost linebackers and safeties. Now, they
exactly.
did draft. Remember, that was
they
the
did
big
draft
target.
a kid out of Georgia.
Yeah, so they got some big dudes to
That whole
stabilize.
front three is Georgia guys, aren't
Yes.
they? So, I mean, and we saw what Georgia has been able to do the last couple of years. So, I mean, I don't think they're going to take too many steps back. But this defense is ushering in new guys on that defensive side of the ball. So I think a lot of it depends on how quickly this defense mesh. And New England, I'm saying New England, excuse me. The Eagles was a very opportunistic defense last season. Can they duplicate that once again this season? We don't know. But if they're able to do it, I don't think the offense is taking a step back at all. If the defense can come up with those timely turnovers as they did last year, if they can continue to be that aggressive type of defense they were last year, then I think you have to they're the front runners in the NFC to make it back to the Super Bowl. I look at this division, and, I'm not putting my faith in Dallas.
No?
No, I'm just not. I think Dallas is going to be a good team, but beating the Eagles, I don't think it's going to happen. Definitely not putting my faith in the Commanders. They're still working out, their thing as an organization. And we don't know if Howe is the is he's the franchise quarterback.
And you've got Eric Bieniemy coming in there. There's a lot of question marks, as there always are with that.
Exactly. There's just been a lot of moving parts. And then the Giants, well, can they get better or duplicate or get better than what they did last season?
They've got some more expectations.
Exactly.
After they were the surprise.
Because everybody, it was like, okay, didn't nobody know anything about the Giants. Now, the Giants, everybody knows about them. Again, Saquon's back. Daniel Jones look a lot better. They've upgraded the receivers a little bit. They got them a hell of a tight end. The kid out of Vegas, and he's looking good. So people want to see if Daniel Jones can take that next step. I don't know. If he does, then that puts the pressure on not just the Cowboys, but it put the pressure on the Eagles as well.
Here's an interesting tidbit about last year's season for the Eagles. They go 14-3. Two of the losses were when Hurts didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
So when Hurts was in there, the only team that beat them was the Commanders. That one, what was it, a Monday night game, where they just didn't have the rhythm. It was weird. They actually lost at home to the Commanders. And here's another side note that I think is interesting. In the comparison between the Cowboys and the Eagles, last year the two head-to-head matchups, early in the season, the Eagles beat Dallas, but that was when Cooper Rush was in there and Dak Prescott was hurt. And later in the season, Dallas beat the Eagles, but that was with Gardner Minshew quarterback. That was one of the games that Hurts missed. So we really didn't see those teams go head-to-head with their starting quarterbacks going head-to-head.
Exactly.
I wonder what that will look like this year.
I think it'll be a better game. But again, I just don't trust Dallas. I mean, as good as this team has been in previous years, they've never been able to sort of just run away with the division. Even when the division was bad and they were the best team in the division, they still didn't run away with the division. So I'm not trusting the Cowboys. Now, here's a little caveat. The Commanders, if they trade Chase Young, then that may even put them further back because he's been rumored to be traded as well.
Now, that's a major piece.
I don't think they can get a contract worked out with him. So they want to try to possibly get something for him. So if they don't trade Chase, if they trade Chase Young, then that Commanders team look a lot different on defense.
How high are you going with Jalen Hurts as your fantasy quarterback?
I think he's Ooh, man.
Especially when you consider the running yards.
I think he's a
touchdown.
first-round quarterback. Now, we're talking in a league of
like the question is
people.
how high. Like last year,
Yeah.
you probably, if you took Hurts, you probably got him after several other quarterbacks were picked.
Exactly.
Now, I think he's in that group of first fantasy quarterbacks that you're considering.
Yeah, he has
after
to be.
Mahomes. Like Mahomes is probably the guy you're always going to.
He has to be. If you're in a league of 10, 15 people, even if you're in a league of 5 to 7, then I'm sure it would be Patrick Mahomes. If you're just saying, okay, you had to take a quarterback in the first round, I'm sure it would be Patrick Mahomes first, probably Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, then Aaron Rodgers, then Herbert.
And Rodgers with a new team, that's an interesting one to consider. And he's a little older now.
Yeah. But then
Like Hurts or Rodgers is a really interesting question. If you're sitting there, I'm taking a quarterback this round, and the picks are coming towards you. You're online, you're watching. Your pick is 3 away. And you're thinking, Rodgers, Hurts.
But you can't go wrong with either one of them.
You can't. You probably aren't. But those extra points probably make a difference.
Yeah, but I think he's a first round in fantasy football. I think Jalen Hurts is a first round pick.
I agree, and you would not have thought that last year.
No,
last year it was kind of a sexy thing. Like, ooh, it's Hurts, because Hurts had really started to come on statistically the year before.
Exactly.
But you're like, is he for real? And now he's for real.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. All right. Caroline, I see her coming into the studio. She's ready to take over for Jared today. Jared's up in Minnesota. We're going to get some reports from him on this Titans-Vikings situation over the next few days, so be looking for that. And we will come back at you tomorrow at full strength. Caroline will be back with us tomorrow at 11. So thanks for joining us here on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Be love and love on your people. Peace.
And don't forget, Trivia Night tomorrow at Boom Baz. We'll tell you more about it, but we'd love to see you there tomorrow night at 7 to benefit stars.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Tennessee, we're Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town. We listen to your feedback on our competitors, so we designed Zen Sports just the way you wished. Set favorites, search and sort bets, and earn real cash rewards, saving you time and money with every bet you make. Find the bets you want, not those distracting bets that seem too good to be true but rarely are. Best of all, withdraw your winnings in under 24 hours. So take control of your bets, because with Zen Sports, betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, Comfort and Cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. The Tennessee Titans are headed to Minnesota to take on the Vikings in their second preseason game. There's a backup quarterback battle brewing in this preseason. Tim Hasselback joined Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace and shared his thoughts on the competition.
You know, my